Town Village Audubon Park.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
The Tigers reclaim their crown by crushing Alabama.
Brady under center, victory formation, takes the snap, falls to an E, and that'll do it. The New England Patriots have won.
And Virginia with the all-time turnaround title.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into this Veterans Day edition of Sports 56 Middays, and we have a lot to get into on this program today. Hope you had a tremendous weekend. It's officially the Monday, November 11th, 2019 edition of the program. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn. We are gathered once again in the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road. That's just north of I-40. Sports 56 Middays is delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, all the terrific folks at the FedEx Corporation. Streamline your e-commerce business so you can focus on growing sales and strengthening customer relationships. Learn more at fedex.com/e-commerce. Also, the first hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. Check them out on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Again, happy Veterans Day, and thank you to everyone out there who is serving our country, has served our country, is a veteran, and your families as well for putting up with a lot of hardships. It's not easy to be a military family, and we thank you for all you do for our great country. Coming up on the program today, it's Monday. That means we'll talk plenty of college football with Barrett Sallee at 11:25 from CBS Sports. The firing of Chad Morris at Arkansas, the LSU win over Alabama and how it will shake up the playoff standings, which will come out tomorrow. College football talk with Barrett Sallee. But, of course, the first hour we will be talking, and a lot of the show, about the Memphis Tigers basketball team and, in particular, James Wiseman. Brooks Hansen from 247 Sports is going to be joining us. He covers the University of Memphis. He will be on with us at 10:25. Certainly, we open up the phone lines and the text line to you on this subject and really all subjects. But this first hour, like I said, will be very heavy on James Wiseman. You can text in on the First Bank text line at 67129. Hit us up on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or message us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. I know Friday night you're getting ready to do your first game of the year for the Hustle, and I'm sitting there ready to go out there and watch the Tigers beat up on Illinois, Chicago, which did eventually happen. But the bombshell that was the James Wiseman story, something that will linger. It could be a landmark case when it's all said and done. It could have some major repercussions and will have major repercussions for not only this season, but possibly the future of the University of Memphis and University of Memphis basketball program and athletic department. What a whopper.
Yeah, all hell broke loose there. That was something. Didn't think that would just be your little Friday afternoon. How do you do? Boy, it is there. It's since then there have been a lot of legal opinions thrown around. Some by people who know that stuff, others by those who don't. But it's where this goes from here could be very interesting. And I was really surprised to see that even if the plan is to fight this whole thing from the University of Memphis's perspective, I was surprised they played him Friday. I thought Friday, with the timing of it all, you just say, okay, let's take a step back. We could sit him tonight. We don't need him to play this game. We're going to beat UIC regardless. We could kind of figure everything out, but they clearly just, they say, hell with you, NCAA. We don't care. And we shall see where this battle ends up.
Bold strategy, Cott.
I was just like, no, seriously, like tonight you don't do it. Like you wait and you figure out, okay, do we want to do it for Oregon where we will actually maybe need him? But tonight we don't need him. This is all happening really fast. The game's in like an hour. Maybe we just chill for tonight and see what happens. But hey, if that's the strategy you want to go with, hey, go in guns a-blazing and don't hold back. If you're going to fight it, and don't think anything of it.
They put their flag in the ground. There was no hesitation. They got the temporary restraining order, and now a week from today, the 18th, is when the court hearing is expected to take place. Obviously, that can be altered. It can be changed. It can be moved back, pushed up. I guess there's all kinds of ways that could be altered. But then they will go for the injunction. And if they're granted the injunction, there's a great chance that James Wiseman will play the entire season for the University of Memphis. Now, what will happen in the long run is something that we will talk about on the show today because it can go many different ways. The national pundits, to a person, seem to be supporting the University of Memphis and saying basically, it's time. It is time now to get rid of these archaic rules from the NCAA. It's time to do something for the kids or in the kids' favor as opposed to just this huge money-making, money-grab company. So Memphis said, all right, we're going to fight this thing. And they brought in the top attorneys in the area, Leslie Bowen, his son, Randy Fishman. And they got the injunction. James played. You could tell that James, at least in my opinion, had a lot on his mind because he came out, he wasn't the same player. He struggled a little bit earlier, and yet he still ended up with 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 block shots in 25 minutes. So as good or as preoccupied, let's say, as he was, he's still an amazing, amazing player. And because of the attention he has garnered as that number one player in the recruiting class and the possible number one NBA draft selection next spring, he's garnered all this attention nationally. And this has a chance to be a landmark case. It does. Little old Memphis and James Wiseman, it could be. Or it could be simply, in the end, another one of these NCAA moves where they try to fight the big boys and the blue bloods, and they usually get knocked down to the canvas. So they take it out on everybody else. They take it out on the Memphises of the world. They've done it before, and they'll do it again. Now, do they have a leg to stand on? Yes. If you want to go by the letter of the law and you want to go by that archaic rule book, yes. But we can get into this argument, whether or not truly Penny Hardaway is a booster. What does 2008 have to do with now? Heck, what does 2017 coaching East have to do with coaching Memphis when it wasn't even in the cards at that time? And what about the NCAA giving him the green light in May? These are all things that have to be considered when they argue their case. He was good to go. He played in that opening game against South Carolina State. He was a stud, and all of a sudden this comes out the next day, Wednesday, really it started to materialize. And then the injunction needed on Friday. So there is a lot to get into today on this program. We welcome you to join in at 360-8255. First Bank phone lines are now open. The First Bank text line, 67129. Let me start off with Jason. Jason, how are you?
Hey, how are y'all doing today?
Doing
Good,
great,
Jason.
thank you.
Hey, one of the points, bullet points from the lawsuit that I think is important to make is that they were talking about the Cam Newton situation back from 2008 when Cam was eventually cleared to play, even though his father had taken $100,000 or whatever it was based on the fact that Cam had no idea that had happened.
Right.
And that was one of the points with Wiseman today. And I don't know if anybody had made that point, just my 2 cents to throw in.
Yeah, they have changed that rule now where you can't use that as an excuse that the player didn't know, so obviously that shouldn't matter. Well, it did with the Cam Newton situation, like you said. Cam Newton pleaded the fifth, basically. Hey, I had no idea. Dad got the money, and Cam was not penalized for that. Now you can't get away with that. Even though James Wiseman allegedly had no idea and probably didn't, they can't hide under that guise anymore.
Well, I didn't realize the rule had changed.
Yes.
But thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate that.
Here, the one thing I on this, I am curious why or how this came up again, because somebody had to do some other school or somebody had to say something.
There is no question.
So I want to know who that is. Like why? Because they ruled him eligible, came back and said, like, we may have done it in error, but we're going to stick with that original ruling. And then it was all good for many months. So why did they come back to this and get to this point? That's I wonder about that. And even if you had already said, we think we may have ruled him eligible by error, but we're sticking with it, why, when it comes back up again, do you not just say, yeah, we know we actually screwed up, but we're sticking with it. That's what we've said. We're going to stick with that original ruling. So right. I don't understand why that thing changes now that you get to this point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let me tackle the first part of your statement. The turn the other cheek society is in the past. We want revenge for the most part, right? If we were embarrassed, we were dissed, we were not respected, is something that people say. We want to get back, no matter how big we are, no matter who we are. And I'm going to sit here and point fingers, but there are a lot of possibilities out there for wanting Memphis to go down, whether it's directly at Penny Hardaway or whether it's at Wiseman, whether it's a recruiting war that was lost. There are a lot of coaches and there are a lot of other people out there that are vindictive, that have vendettas. They want revenge. They want something to happen. So that's not a surprise. But you're right. No new information was given to the NCAA according to everything we've read. So basically, it's the same stuff they had in May, that he provided $11,500 for his mom, Wiseman's mom, and the family to move from Nashville to Memphis and then attend East High School where Penny was the coach. And, of course, it's well documented that Penny has helped out a lot of people financially. So I don't know what new information they have to turn around and do what they did, other than they were pressured by people of power. And it gets down to, again, the people who are in the Power Five or the Blue Bloods or whichever group you want to put them in, and then the rest of the world. And I'm talking about in collegiate athletics. And those are the ones that get stomped on because they're easy to get stomped on. But I love the fact that Memphis and the new administration and these great attorneys are saying, not so fast, my friend. Now, it may not work out. My prediction is they're going to get this.
Could be a disaster.
It could be an absolute disaster. Or it could be a landmark case that changes everything. But here's the thing, two points. I do believe that they will eventually win the injunction, and he will play the rest of the season. And I still believe, unless there's this amazing change of face from the NCAA, that Memphis will pay the price, that they will be penalized, these games will be rescinded, the wins will be taken away, and they'll be penalized very steeply. I hope I'm wrong. But that's what it looks like it will be going down the road. But again, maybe the NCAA said, look, things are changing. We're about to not pay players, but they're about to be able to make money for their likeness and their name and things of that nature. Maybe they go down a different path on this. Because think about it. If the rule had changed back to you can go immediately to the NBA, James Wiseman would not be at Memphis. We would not be worried about this thing, and he'd be making millions right now in the NBA.
Yeah, here's a couple other things too on this, because I'm all for taking down the NCAA and getting rid of some stupid rules and all that stuff. I do think that some of this, like and the people here get a lot of it as Tiger fans, but even media and others, like there is a bit of fault here from Penny Hardaway and the University of Memphis. Like, for Penny not to tell the university, hey, by the way, this kid we're recruiting, I did pay for his family to move to Memphis. Like, I gave him $11,000. Like, before he was recruited and everything else, that should be disclosed to the university.
But didn't the university understand from the TSSAA that there had been this ongoing case against East?
All I know is in their statement, they said they did not know of this. So
everybody knew it. It was a battle between the TSSAA and East High School.
But again, that's on the
James
university.
Wiseman.
They're like, so there is some fault there of acting like saying, oh, well, we didn't know he did this. And two, the one thing, I think it's people saying it because it's been said many times. Oh, and when he did this, like, there was no inkling whatsoever that Penny Hardaway would be the Memphis basketball coach. Well, there was like that. He was 1 year. He had 1 year prior had tried to get the job. He didn't. Everybody saw the direction it was going with Tubby Smith. It probably wasn't going to last very long. And there was an idea that Penny Hardaway would be his replacement. Like the thought of Penny Hardaway as the Memphis coach was like, no. Who would have thought that? He had already tried to get the job.
If we're going technicalities or we're going by the letter of the law in the case of the NCAA, Penny Hardaway at that point may have had visions of one day being the head coach. There's no question he had that, right? There's no question.
He'd already tried to get it.
But Tubby Smith had yet to fail. He had yet to fall flat on his face. And if Tubby Smith was successful, Penny Hardaway would not have been the coach.
But it was clearly on the path of failing. Like, there were no fans going to games. Like, we all knew where it was headed.
Eli, and my argument would be you can't put two and two together and come up with that absolutely 100% Hardaway would be the next head coach
again,
at that time.
I'm not saying it was 100%, but the idea there was no inkling. He had tried to get the job once.
Right. An inkling and then whether or not they would actually do it are two different things.
There was a chance he was going to end up as the coach.
Let me go back to the phone lines. More of your phone calls. Thomas is next. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Greg, I think what's going to happen is this going to end up being a landmark case. What does Hardaway and James Wiseman, when all of this is alleged $11,500 was given to his family, neither one of them were affiliated with the NCAA at the time. That situation, if what we know is true, which is probably that was a case for the TSSAA, not the NCAA. Neither one of them was even affiliated with the University of Memphis.
Yes, but the argument's not the 11.5. The argument here is the $1 million that Penny Hardaway gave way back in 2008 that, according to the definition in the NCAA rulebook, made him a booster. And then when he became the head coach, because of his ties to James Wiseman, it became the recruitment of a player who was, I guess, illegal to play under the NCAA rules because of extra benefits received. So that's what they're arguing. And I would argue that, come on now. I mean, we're talking about 2008 and at that time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Greg. This happened. This would have fall under the TSSAA umbrella, not the NCAA. Like I say, neither one of them were affiliated with the school at the time.
Yeah, but the 2008 has nothing to do with TSSAA.
But Thomas, the NCAA,
you're getting the two mixed up.
The NCAA says that Penny did have something there because they're saying he is a booster.
Yeah, this case is hedging on him being a booster and giving money to the university and then becoming the coach and giving extra benefits to the player, in this case, James Wiseman. Forget about the 11.5 for a second. Think about the $1 million, which, again, right. I would argue against that as well because he is a player and he gives money. Now, what they will do is they will try to argue that was given to the university and not the athletic department. However, I think Penny Hardaway was a season ticket holder, probably gave money for that. That makes you a booster. What makes you a booster is kind of stupid in the rules that they have, but that's their argument, and that's what they're going to counter, that he is not a booster. And that's where a lot of the national people who are professors or attorneys and are a lot smarter than me, they are the ones arguing that he is not a booster. And that'll be a big part of the argument that they make.
What you guys' gut feeling you think going to happen?
I just said it. I think they're going to get an injunction. He's going to play the entire season, and then I think they're going to take away the wins, and they're going to get penalized.
Okay, well, we'll see how this going.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope
I know
it
that's
is.
right, Greg. I like I said, I think this is going to end up being a landmark case because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the NCAA. Just like back in 2008 when we lost to Kansas, Darrell Arthur shouldn't even been playing for
Right, but who won? Who won that case? But who won? The NCAA. The NCAA wins because they pick on the little guys. They don't win when they pick on the big guys. Thanks, Thomas.
Okay, guys.
Appreciate the call. Let me go to Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Just real quick, just the semantics of everything. It seems like a lot of this is coming down to the phrase indefinitely. That, let's say someone in 1967 donated $1,000 to help with the Liberty Ball being built, then based on what the NCAA has said, they would be a booster in perpetuity. Yes,
right.
That is not stated in the actual bylaws and everything. So that's what they're really going after, is the ambiguity of indefinitely. So with Penny, it's interesting that, something from 2008, 11 years ago, you would think there has to be a statute of limitations or some kind of point of time reference where that kind of dissolves, I guess. Because it's different from someone who's a Highland 100 member and donates annually as opposed to a one-time. To me, that's not a booster, but I guess that's how they define it. It's just going to be interesting how this turns out because I agree with the last caller. It's going to be a landmark case either way it goes.
I think it has a chance to be, and that's a great point, Joe. We'll see if they decide to. Thank you, Joe. Decide to argue. Well, I think they will. Not decide to. They will argue about that. I just mentioned that they will argue the whole booster thing. But again, in the bylaws, does it say anything about a statute of limitations? I don't believe it does. Ed is next. Hi, Ed.
Yeah, hey. In my opinion, it stinks. I'm all for doing what's best for the kid. First of all, I think when the NCAA came in and changed their mind, they say that president, okay, if we do that, how many games he got to sit out? They couldn't even tell him.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They didn't. We just want to say, no, we don't play this game, man. I mean, so he ain't playing this game. I think most of the other schools are going to quit playing this game. You can't put people in limbo like that. If they had come in and say, well, we want Wiseman to sit out 10 games because we made a mistake, made an error. But when you tell the president, well, we want to sit out, well, when we'll be able to play, we don't know.
Right, right.
I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. And like I say, I hope they stick to them. They're not gonna win in the course period. The NCAA is a corrupt organization. Yep. It's pure. I mean, North Carolina had academic fraud at the highest level, and it didn't touch it.
Right.
And and so Memphis said, "Look, you gonna pick on us, but mainly because Penny Holloway gonna get this train rolling, man." And
they're finally standing up to the bully, Ed. They're finally standing up to the bully. Thank you, Ed. That was a great call. You were right on, absolutely 100%. They're standing up to the bully. Alan is next. Hi, Alan. How are you?
Hey, I got a thing in the mail because I donate money to the school that tells me what not to do as a booster. And it sure in the hell wasn't $1 million.
But you give money every year?
Yeah, I give money every year, and I'm a booster.
Yeah, but the question, though, is, wow, if you don't give money every year, how long does giving $1 million make you a booster for?
He was a season ticket holder going to the games, and that makes you a booster, too.
Which is stupid, which is absolutely stupid.
Yeah, but I'm just going by the rules. And Greg, I agree with you. Here's what I see it like. They're going to let them play the whole year and everything, but it's like the IRS telling me to pay $1,000 now, and I tell them to go to hell.
I hear
and
you.
About a year later, they could come and audit everything I got.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate the phone call. One more. Let's go.
It's bold to challenge them because because you got a lot of other sports and athletes and things to worry about. Like if the NCAA all of a sudden decides, you know what? All right, we're going to find stuff. Well,
here's the thing.
That's the bold part of this.
It's an unfortunate, sad statement, but it's a true statement. Memphis fans they're used to it in some regards. So if you play the games and you get a chance to watch the 1 year that James Wiseman is playing, as opposed to James Wiseman being on the bench, you'd sign up for that. Because, okay, say they go to the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16, and they take away that. Again, they're not taking away your memories. They're not erasing your brain. You still remember all that, and you got to see James Wiseman. So I think it's extremely important to battle and try to win the injunction, even And we don't know for sure, but even if something happens in the long run, even if they're penalized, that's the way I would look at it.
I just think it's a very interesting time for this all to be happening with where we're going, because now there's nobody I could see out there really sitting on the NCAA side. No one really has their side in this matter because they think things need to change.
Oh, everybody believes the NCAA is a corrupt group.
No, as far as in the court of public opinion, fighting the NCAA is a golden thing right now. Everybody wants to fight the NCAA.
Oh, they're lining up to take a shot. Let me get Vincent in, and then we'll take the break, and then we'll be joined by Brooks Hanson. Vincent, how are you?
Okay, this is my take on the situation. If he's not able to play, let's say everything gets negative.
They don't win the injunction.
Right. And let's say he loses draft status, let's say 5 spots. How much millions of dollars that's going to cost that kid for somebody saying, "Oh, I made a mistake. You were eligible, but 4 or 5 months later, you're not." To me, that's the most cruel thing about this, and I don't see how any court in America or whatever would just allow that to just happen. Because the reality is, if he does not play, it could affect his draft status.
No, it won't. No, it won't. It won't affect him. It won't affect him.
It may affect 1 or 2 spots.
Why?
And 1 or 2 spots will be worth like the top.
Yeah, but
why
would it affect? You think a team's going to say, you know what? I want to take James Wiseman, but in high school he got $11,500 for his family to move, so we're not going to take him.
And let me ask you, with Penny being what he was to a lot of kids, and coaches do. I mean, coaches pick up kids. Coaches buy tennis shoes. Coaches buy lunches.
Sure.
They do different things. And he subsequently got a head coach job. At this point, he's the head coach. He's not a booster. How are you going to retroactively say, well, he was a booster back in 2008, so therefore it's illegal what he did in 2017? I don't understand.
I am with you 100%. I know. It's
almost like, you know what happened? They saw Kansas, Duke, Michigan State, and all them play, and they got nervous when James got out there and showed out. And they said, well, we got to put a stop to this train because this thing's going to move fast.
Vincent, I'm with you, my friend. Got to run. Appreciate the phone call. Vincent's absolutely right, though. I mean, it's just it doesn't make sense, but it's in their stupid, archaic rule book. And when it goes to the judges and we have these great attorneys from Memphis battling, who will win in the long run? Will we finally have? And look, Thomas and other callers, and I mentioned this from the start of the show, it may end up being that landmark case that changes a lot of things. All right, we're going to continue the discussion with Brooks Hanson. He was in the middle of all this. He was breaking a lot of stories over the weekend involving James Wiseman. He has talked to attorneys, and he has some good input on it. We'll hear from him when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports Time with Rollo and Stats. Every weekday afternoon from 3 till 6. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. If you need a roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and we will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. We have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for many years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies' new look, the Redbirds, the 901 FC, and the Tigers football and basketball teams, it's going to be a fun year. Thank you to Coach Norvell, Coach Hardaway, and their staffs for your dedication to your student athletes, the University of Memphis, and to fans like me who have waited forever to have both the football and basketball teams ranked at the same time. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now this is barbecue weather.
You say that about every kind of weather.
That's because it's true. Central Barbecue is perfect for every time of year. But the fall, when the leaves are turning and the air is crisp and cool, what better time for delicious Central Barbecue?
You know how I hate to agree with you. I mean, I really hate having to agree with you, but...
Ha! Even you have to admit, autumn and Central Barbecue are perfect together.
With the cooler weather and Tigers football and Grizzlies basketball...
It all says, let's just have some tasty, slow-smoked Central Barbecue.
There is something about that smoky smell when you walk in the door.
When you walk in the parking lot.
Ooh, that does feel particularly special. Of course, next month you'll say winter and Central Barbecue go together.
You don't know that.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV, made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Listen up. If you're a parent or a young man looking for a sport that will change your life, I want you to consider wrestling. This is a good sport that develops integrity, discipline, a strong work ethic, and a fitness level that will last you a lifetime. And the best way to learn this craft is at Elite Wrestling Academy on Highway 64 in Bartlett. It's located in the Memphis Judo and Jiu-Jitsu Complex, or you can call them at 901-870-7275 or look them up on Facebook. At Elite Wrestling Academy, you have the top coaches of the game in Memphis, led by Chris Douglas and Jeremy Doty. The ratio is never more than 4 wrestlers to a coach. They have 3 All-Americans, 3 state champions, and 3 wrestlers on the national team. This is a youth wrestling program for 1st through 8th grade ages and is a feeder program for all Memphis high schools. If you're interested, you're invited to stop by, see the place, and get a free week just to see if you like it. The boys practice 5:30 to 7:30 Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Presidents, CEOs, and NFL players love wrestling. Come see why at Elite Wrestling Academy.
It's the holidays, people, and our guys at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch told me to say a big thank you to everyone driving All-Star Chevys, and to each of you wanting to buy a new Chevy to come to All-Star Chevy today. Test drive the Silverado, Traverse, the new Camaro. It's ABC simple. A, the All-Star Chevy Challenge to bring any written offer from any Mid-South Chevy dealer to All-Star so they can give you a better deal or buy you a tank of gas. B, better buying experience that's fast and fun for you. And C, customer care to take care of everything you need so all your future cars and trucks to be in the All-Star family. Because over 75% of All-Star customers are repeat buyers, and no other Mid-South Chevy dealer can say that. So find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Not South Haven, not The Pike, not Collierville. It's gotta be Olive Branch. So go to allstarautogroup.com and find the Chevy you want. If you don't see it there, they can get it for you fast. allstarautogroup.com.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial, auto, and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
Off to a rip-roaring start as expected on this Monday edition of Middays. Again, happy Veterans Day out there. John has texted and said, happy Veterans Day to all. My granddaughter leaves for South Korea tomorrow morning for 1 year. So good luck to John's granddaughter. And again, thank you to all the vets.
Yeah, John, thanks for joining us on Facebook. Folks, you can join us or on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube. You can watch us. You can watch us live and in person.
I'm the good-looking one. All right, as we continue talking, James Wiseman, a good friend of ours, Brooks Hansen's been covering University of Memphis athletics for a long time. You know, from Go Tigers 247. It's an amazing website. You can follow him on Twitter at Brooks Hansen 247. And as you would expect, he's been on top of this from the get-go. Brooks Hansen joins us now on Sports 56 Middays. Never a dull moment, Brooks, huh?
Man, just when I was ready to take a long weekend for the holiday and get away, not happening.
Yeah, we were all in FedEx Forum, just talking, having a little dinner, getting ready for a Friday night regular season game against Illinois, Chicago, and boom, the big news. All right, so I know that some of your people had a chance to talk with this Richard Johnson, who is an attorney and deals with subjects very similar to this, and he tweeted out, boy, it was like a 10 or 12 point deal about how the university is doing the right thing, that James Wiseman's in the right. You have all these former or current professional athletes and people involved in sports who feel that James Wiseman is in the right. This has a chance to be, and I'm not saying it will be because it's still It's not Kentucky. It's not Duke. It's not UCLA. It is Memphis. But James Wiseman is expected to be the number one pick in the NBA draft. This could end up being one of those landmark cases we look back at and are studied in the law books.
Absolutely. If you take a listen to what Richard Johnson said in our podcast that we released yesterday, he makes that very clear. Not only does James Wiseman and the University of Memphis as a whole, Penny Hardaway, have a case against the NCAA in terms of James Wiseman being able to play, they have a case to get paid. This is straight up a breach of contract from the NCAA. There are multiple layers to this thing, but one, their claim that Penny Hardaway was a booster is not cut and dry as so many people are making it sound like it is. And two, the NCAA went through the process with the University of Memphis of declaring him eligible in May, from January to May, declared him ineligible, and then rescinded that declaration 6 months later, after he had made arrangements, stayed at the University of Memphis when he could have gone overseas and made seven figures like R.J. Hampton is doing.
Mm-hmm.
He could have stayed in the United States and done an internship like Darius Baisley and made seven figures. This guy, James Wiseman, stayed at Memphis based upon that eligibility decision and lost out on opportunities because of the NCAA if their ruling is correct. So, yes, I mean, I fully believe that the lawsuit against the NCAA from James Wiseman has a very legitimate chance.
Well, and even within that, too, is the part that they at one point decided, oh, yeah, we did do that. We probably shouldn't have ruled him eligible, but we're going to go ahead and stick with that original decision. So if you did that once, why did you now change it this many months later?
Absolutely, and that's one of the main points of the lawsuit. We broke down. We actually obtained a full copy of the lawsuit and broke that down start to finish. And that's one of the main points within that is that decision to rule him ineligible in May, and then come back, say, "Oops, we made a mistake, but we're going to stick with it." And then to come back on October 31st and say, "Yeah, we came up with a new bylaw interpretation." Like, what even is that? I mean, how does that make any sense? So, yeah, that's a massive part of what this lawsuit is. There are 5 main disputes within this thing, and that's the main one.
The one thing that jumps out to me that Richard Johnson said that I think is wrong is his third point. He said, James is not alleged to have done anything wrong. James' mother is alleged to have accepted financial help to move her family from James' high school coach, who was Penny Hardaway. That is correct. And he says that is not illegal, immoral, or wrong. Instead, it was a charitable act by Penny. But the NCAA rules have changed from the Cam Newton situation, where Cam Newton was able to hide under the guise that he had no knowledge, and maybe he didn't have any knowledge, and it was all on Pops. Well, they changed that now. So even if it's mom or dad or a cousin or somebody else, it still affects the player.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, that's irrelevant. I mean, if you look at the 5 main counts in this lawsuit, that is a completely negligible argument. It has no case, even if Penny Hardaway did, as they've openly admitted, pay for those $11,000 plus of moving expenses. It's irrelevant because they're in question is, 1, is Penny Hardaway a booster?
A booster, right.
2, is there the issue of promissory estoppel? Is there a breach of contract and implied covenant of good faith? Those are all legitimate arguments. Was tortious interference involved? That is all legitimate. And the idea that $11,000 should have some sort of valid argument is pretty much null and void.
The thing too, I guess it will, the whole booster thing, one way or another, what if this ends up going all the way through court and a decision is made here, like this at the very least could set the standard for what is a booster going forward for the NCAA.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look in the bylaws, in Section 13, in Chapter 13, the bylaws are extremely vague. One, they talk about that it's in perpetuity, and that's not a definition of how long. The duration is that the status is somehow a presumed period, and that's just false. In contracts, and I'm not a lawyer, but I've spoken with enough over the last 3 days. In contracts, I feel like I stayed at a Holiday Inn over the weekend. In contracts, when there's ambiguity, it's always the courts always lean in favor away from the individual who wrote the contract.
But is there ambiguity because it says perpetuity? Doesn't perpetuity mean forever?
No. I mean, in terms of legality, no. There is no set guideline on that term.
Okay.
There's no length of time. Now, there's an implication, but implication is not fact.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's actual definitions and legal definitions. There's always a way legally to figure out something if it has never been actually determined, I guess, in the court of law, what a word means.
And that's what it's going to come down to.
It's basically like
right?
saying, like, until further notice. Like, what?
So it's going to come down to verbiage. It's going to come down to how you interpret the verbiage in the rules. Now, let me ask you this, because people are so curious, and everybody had their conspiracy theory as soon as this happened. Who do you think, or how do you think this information became available, which was already known by the NCAA, but why they acted upon this on Friday? I think it started on Wednesday when the NCAA or somebody informed the University of Memphis. But why do you think this happened, or who do you think leaked it if there was a whistleblower?
Well, as Richard said on the podcast, there's no process for the NCAA to, once an eligibility decision is made, to open these things back up.
Right.
There's no reexamination process. The only time that they affirmatively reopen a case like this is when they're given new information or when someone says, you need to look at this. So it had to be somebody or something that came across their radar to say, we're going to question this decision.
Mm-hmm. No question about that.
Now, and there's been no change in the information that was provided between January and May and now.
Do you have a theory?
I think that's irrelevant. I mean, I think that when you ask for all the smoke, you're going to have a lot of people trying to give you the smoke. So I think that it could be, off the top of my head, I've got at least half a dozen different people that could want to come after Penny Hardaway.
Look, we knew as soon as Penny got the job that the NCAA would be opening up shop in Memphis, and they would certainly be assisted by a lot of the other, let's say, blue bloods, if you will, or other people who did not like Penny crashing the party. So there was going to be something. I just didn't expect it to be this quickly.
See, the thing, too, goes back to, and even if somebody came to them and said, you need to look at this, to me, the response from the NCAA, because as you said, Brooks, there was no new information. It was still the exact same stuff. So they should have said, yeah, we looked at it. We actually looked at it again, found out we kind of messed up, but we told them, no, we're going to stick with our original ruling. There's nothing more for us to look at. We've done it, and we've already ruled on this situation, and there's no new information for us to consider.
Absolutely. And here's something that, it's a little bit off topic of what you just said. I want to point out and remind people, NCAA coaches have to go through a certification process. The NCAA looks at you. You've got to be able to remember Penny Hardaway could not be announced officially as coach because he had to take the NCAA certification.
Yes.
You have to pass certification. You have to be reviewed. All of that was done by the NCAA when he was hired. Let's not forget that his relationships, his quote-unquote conflicts of interest with East High School and Team Penny, he was divested from Team Penny. They changed the name.
Right.
All of that was done as a part of that vetting process. So, again, this is another instance where the NCAA is coming back and saying, "Oh, you know what? We missed something."
But playing
we have questions about that.
But playing devil's advocate, and I'm with you 100%. But I'm just thinking about every possible angle here. When they vetted him, they could not assume, although we all assumed, that James Wiseman was going to sign with the University of Memphis. So it didn't become the situation we have now until Wiseman became a member of the University of Memphis. So back then when they vetted him, he was clean, right? Because he had not, even though he had given the $1 million in 2008 and I guess was deemed a booster, there wasn't a player connection. People will say, well, what about Alex Lomax? Well, it also stipulates that before ninth grade, if there's a relationship, that's fine. That's a kind of a grandfather, you're grandfathered in. So, and of course, his relationship with his son shouldn't matter at all, and it doesn't matter at all. So maybe that would be their argument, Brooks.
Well, I mean, they review relationships with all players for these head coaches and assistant coaches in the NCAA. And they also review eligibility for players that are involved with AAU and high school coaches that can be deemed as boosters of schools.
Right.
Prior to Penny even getting the job, he was an AAU coach for years before he got the job at Memphis. So it just seems extremely short-sighted for the NCAA to approve multiple instances with Hardaway as a head coach, and then also, James Wiseman as a player.
I think the booster.
For me,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the booster thing is cockamamie. I really do. I think it's ridiculous. But another argument, though, will be, is it a one-time thing, the $1 million? No, it's not, right? Because now, don't they deem you, and I think Penny Hardaway had season tickets, and they deem you a booster if you purchase season tickets, which, again, I don't understand that. You're buying tickets for entertainment because you want to go watch those games, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into a booster category. It's semantics, I think, but with the definition of what a booster is, and I think that's really where the problem is, and that's what they will go after.
If you think Penny Hardaway has ever had to buy a ticket to a basketball game in the city of Memphis, then you're sorely mistaken.
But people are saying he purchased them to, again, help out the athletic department. I don't know. I don't know what he's done. I'm hearing arguments from and points made by a lot of different people. And so I don't know, right?
Richard Johnson, he actually brings up the $1 million gift in our podcast. And one of the things that he said was that the NCAA views you in the same light, whether you give $1 million or $1.
Right.
And that Penny Hardaway's gift is being talked about as a gift to the athletic department. The athletic department is not a 501c3.
Right.
The booster rules are related to gifts given to the athletic department or the athletic department's booster clubs, e.g. the Highland 100, the
Rebounders.
Blue Hair.
Right.
Yeah,
and he gave it to the school. He gave it to the school is what they're
exactly.
The argument.
He gave it to the University of Memphis, earmarked for a construction project. So there's even gray area within that confine.
Yes.
So there's so much here, and it gives, I think we've seen with the reactions to our coverage over the last 3 days, it's given Memphis fans a reason to be optimistic, but it's also hard to be optimistic. It's almost like battered fan syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Every time the University of Memphis State it feels like they're on a precipice, they get beaten down by the NCAA. Mm-hmm. And this goes back to the 80s. I mean, you could just recount them left and right. Dana Kirk, Keith Lee, then you got Sylvester Gray, Marvin Alexander, you've got David Vaughn and his injury, the controversy with Larry Finch, then you've got a couple of boneheaded coaches that completely ruined the image of the University of Memphis, and then Calipari and Derrick Rose. And now it feels like it's like a cyclical decade-by-decade thing, and this is our decade moment where the NCAA is taking away that opportunity. That's how I feel like Memphis fans feel right now.
Oh, there's no question they feel like that. They also feel it's Memphis versus everybody, which is a slogan we use an awful lot, and there's a lot of truth to it. But I said this earlier, and I do believe this. I think what the NCAA does is they try to step into the ring against the big boys, the blue bloods, and they usually get knocked down to the canvas. So what they do is they try to get on their bully pulpit and take advantage of teams that are in either in the middle, or in the case of Memphis, a strong basketball program that has struggled of late, somebody that they've already taken advantage of before or stomped on, and they think they can do it again. They take out their frustrations. I don't want to call Memphis the little guy, but you know the point I'm trying to make. And I think that's what they're trying to do again. And Memphis is saying, not this time. We're standing up for it.
Greg, that's 100% it. And you look at the times where the NCAA has picked on Memphis before, specifically the last time the NCAA set a precedent by inventing this new term, strict liability. Never used it before.
Right.
Only used it seldom since. But it was a precedent set by the NCAA, and I fully believe that this is Memphis's opportunity to set a precedent going back in favor of universities against the NCAA.
Brooks, great stuff as always. Go Tigers 247. You need to follow what those guys are doing. They are unbelievable in covering the University of Memphis athletics. You can follow Brooks on Twitter at Brooks Hansen 247. Brooks, always a pleasure. We'll stay in touch, okay?
Yeah, thank you, Greg.
Take care. All right, we need to take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour one. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
Help Landers Nissan make this Christmas merry for low-income families by donating new, unused toys and gifts or monetary gifts to Trinity Church's Affordable Christmas Store. Low-income parents will get to pick and purchase gifts at 1/10 retail value. Donate at Landers Nissan or by texting Trinity to 77977 Tuesday, November 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's when Landers Nissan will match your donation. All donations go to provide toys for participating families. Need physical therapy but don't know where to go? Tried physical therapy but had a bad experience? Grab your physician's referral and head to Revolution Physical Therapy at the corner of Goodman and Getwell. At Revolution PT, you'll get one-on-one, hands-on therapy. Better and more thorough than just going to the gym. Revolution is locally owned and staffed by neighbors who care about your maximum recovery. And they accept all major insurances. Certified in dry needling, expert in myofascial release. Always relaxed and friendly. Revolution Physical Therapy is just what you need.
Do you need a Bobcat loader or excavator for breaking concrete or landscaping? Williams Equipment and Supply is the largest equipment dealer and rental house in the Mid-South. Experience the pride Bobcat owners have in running the #1 brand of compact equipment. Let Williams Equipment put you in the seat of a new Bobcat loader or excavator today.
This is Sam Watson, your Memphis area Bobcat specialist. Call me at 901-326-6429 and let me help you get the equipment you need to get the job done.
Listen up, Rebel fans. You can now listen to Rebel Yell Hotline on 87.7 FM or on the web each and every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. If you can't listen to 87.7 FM, Sports 56 has made it possible to listen online each and every week. All you have to do is go to sports56whbq.com and click on the Rebel Yell Hotline banner to listen. That's Rebel Yell Hotline each and every Monday night from 6 to 7 p.m. on 87.7 FM or on the web at sports56whbq.com.
Do not hire Franklin & Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
Hi, folks. Rob Walker, Infiniti of Memphis, and we've got a new Infiniti crossover vehicle that has raised the standard of comparison to a new level. Imagine having both sports car performance and eco-friendly efficiency on demand, working together to empower every driving experience. The result of 20 years of engineering, QX50's award-winning variable compression turbo engine is the world's only engine of its kind. Like two engines in one, it delivers a combination of power and efficiency that is truly in a category all its own, and only Infiniti has it. You'll never sacrifice performance for the sake of efficiency again. And the new QX50 offers more horsepower than its Audi, Lexus, and Mercedes competitors. Add to that QX50's award-winning sumptuous interior, and you have the best combination of performance and comfort in the mid-size crossover segment.
Infiniti of Memphis and online at infinityofmemphis.com.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Let's do it.
Coming up in hour number 2, we'll continue the conversation. Those who did not have a chance to get in via the First Bank phone lines, we will open up the phone lines again to you at 360-8255. First Bank text line 67129. Also, you can message us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube and Twitter. And then we'll turn our attention to college football. So much going on in the world of pigskin, the Chad Morris firing at Arkansas, the LSU win over Alabama, the Minnesota upset over Penn State. We'll talk with Barrett Salee at 11:25. So a lot to get into, a little Grizzlies talk later on in the show, and then we'll have the good, the bad, the ugly coming up in hour number 3. But plenty of time to continue this conversation on James Wiseman and what will happen. Will it be a landmark case? What will happen to the University of Memphis, both the basketball program and the athletic department moving forward? Will they be winning the case? Will it be something that everybody will look at down the road, down the line, and go, that James Wiseman case, man, it changed things? Or will Memphis end up getting hammered by the NCAA, which is usually the case? First hour of the program is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar Avenue. It's between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. You can't miss it, right there on Poplar Avenue, very conveniently located. 901-767-9648 is the phone number to call, or go to their website at gaddisjewelers.com. It's your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. They've been serving Memphians and Mid-Southerners for 23 years. So, yeah, I think they know what they're doing. And, guys, it's not the easiest thing to pick out the right ring. It's the biggest decision of your life. But James, Linda, and the gang over at James Gaddis, they will answer all your questions and steer you in the right direction. James is a master jeweler, certified appraiser, diamondologist, and graded by the Gemologist Institute of America. They are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. All their diamonds are independently graded and certified, so you're not getting ripped off. You're getting quality diamonds at a very reasonable price because they know there's a lot of competition out there, so they have a price point to suit everyone's budget. James is a Christian Brothers High School graduate and a Memphian through and through. So for your wedding, engagement, and anniversary rings, other fine jewelry, let James be your choice. It's James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Elmo. Check out the website, gaddisjewelers.com, or call them at 901-767-9648.
Got a lot of texts here on the First Bank text line that we'll get to coming up after the break. Also, if you want to join in, you can. First Bank text line 67129. First Bank phone line 360-8255. You can also message us on Facebook, Periscope, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, as we talk this James Wiseman. And we got a lot of folks via text who have an idea who they think might have been the people who went to the NCAA.
I can guess a few. This is Middays.
They all have it the same. They all agree on this one.
Well, you'd be surprised at some of the other theories I've heard. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family owned since 1981.
It's car buying time now during Wolf Chase Nissan's Summer Savings Event. More cars, better offers, and bigger savings than ever before. Model year-end savings on every new 2019 Nissan in stock. Financing as low as 0% up to 60 months on select models for qualified buyers with approved credit through NMAC. Hurry in for exciting summer savings. And remember, if your car says Wolf Chase Nissan, you got the best deal. WolfChaseNissan.com.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately?
everything, a tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels and gold and silver and more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, diamonds, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts in wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis, local and family-owned. Whatever your dream, make it come true at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Do not hire Franklin and Sons Electrical. The guy told me he'd shrink my monthly bill, and I'm like, dude, it's too small to read as it is.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
Then he's like, where's the circuit breaker? I'm like, bro, I didn't break anything.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
He told me I had a blown fuse. It's called a short fuse, and yes, I do have one, so watch yourself.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Gold Strike Casino and Resort in Tunica. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:02 is the time. Second hour of the program. Happy Veterans Day out there to all who serve our country, who have served our country. You are the true heroes, and we appreciate everything you've done for us. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn. The Monday, November 11th, 2019 edition of the program. Sports 56 Middays delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, FedEx, providing global access for small business. Learn more at fedex.com/e-commerce. By the way, tomorrow we're going to be on the road. We're going to be down in South Haven at Landers Nissan. So if you're driving around, come on by and say hello. I know it's going to be very, very cold tomorrow. Mr. Weatherman forecast says under 32 degrees tomorrow.
Well, it's
ouch.
We're kicking off the affordable Christmas campaign down there, so we need Christmas weather, so it works out perfect. We won't have any snow, I don't think, but we're to kick off the affordable Christmas campaign. We get some cold weather, so that's apropos. And while we're there tomorrow, any donations you make to the affordable Christmas campaign down there will be matched by Landers Nissan. So I hope you'll be able to come out and join us. We've done this the last few years down there with the Affordable Christmas campaign, and we'll be telling you more about it tomorrow. But if you could come on out, make some donations, that would be absolutely fantastic.
All right, we're going to get to your calls here in just a second. Nate and Joe, you'll be the first ones up, but let's get some texts in as well.
Text here from Raider Corey says, the NCAA is the most cruel, corrupt organization on the planet. It's evident they target certain schools and certain coaches. You guys know exactly what I mean. To the NCAA, where do we stand with LSU, Kansas, Arizona, and Auburn? A couple caught on tape, right? Selective enforcement. What a shame, and they should be ashamed. Fraud. Somebody else says, remember what happened to Ole Miss when they beat Alabama twice in a row? That was their wrong. You will not win against the NCAA, but good luck.
That is a term used a lot. Selective enforcement, and I think apropos in this case.
Got for a text here says, could the Tigers play Wiseman for the 31 regular season games to showcase him for the NBA, sit him for the AAC tournament, get the automatic bid, and go to the NCAA tournament? So if they forfeit Wiseman's games, it won't affect tournament finish. If you're playing in 31 games, you're in.
I was going to say, I gotta imagine it doesn't work like that.
You're all in at that point.
Yeah, because every game determines where you are in position, seeded wise for the conference tournament, and then they're saying skip the conference tournament.
Yeah, don't play him in the conference tournament.
And still win the tournament because you're so talented anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. I think once you've played in 31 games, if you're playing in 31 games, you're all in that you're playing with James Wiseman. You're not going to then say, oh, by the way, James, you're not going to play in the postseason for us.
Well, what it will be is, in the long run, if they lose, it will be you played a player that was disallowed by the NCAA. So you'll have to forfeit 31 games. Right? I
know, but he's saying if you didn't play him in the conference tournament, you still won the conference tournament. That would get you you'd be in the NCAA tournament. I guess you don't play him in the NCAA tournament. None of that would be affected. It would just be the 31 regular season games. But again, you're not going to tell James Wiseman, yeah, by the way, you're not going to play in the postseason.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I believe they're going to win the injunction. He's going to play. I think he's going to play the entire season. But even if he doesn't play in the conference tournament, they went to the NCAA tournament as an automatic representative by winning their conference. They'll still look back and go, you wouldn't have made the tournament because you had 31 losses. So everything would be taken away anyway. You're going to get... If he plays, he's playing. If he plays, they're going to the tournament. Even if he sits out the conference tournament, like they say, they're going to the NCAA tournament. As long as he's there, and if they win this injunction, he's going to be playing. So the point is whether or not it's all taken away in the end. So if let's say they won a national championship game, and they go, well, he didn't play in the conference tournament, so they qualified by winning the conference.
No, he would have to not play in the NCAA tournament, too. That's what I'm saying. Like, you would have your whole postseason without him playing.
But he would not have they would have not gotten in because they would have been they would still be
in the conference tournament if you win the conference tournament without him.
Yeah, but they'll rule that they had 31 losses.
It's not going to happen, so we're wasting brain cells over
I know we are. I'm saying, they would be.
That was their idea. Like, if he doesn't play any of the postseason games, all of those stand.
Yeah, I don't think that would work.
Text here from Dennis says, I'm an Ole Miss fan. If somebody told it's Kentucky, a blue blood who's ticked off, they lost the recruitment battle. There's another one here. Somebody says the NCAA will want this case tried in Lexington, Kentucky. Somebody else says it happened because Calipari saw how good he was and bitched to the NCAA. Somebody else says, hey, guys, could the snitches be Calipari in Kentucky since Wiseman was pulled away from them? There seems to be a general agreement on people having the idea that maybe John Calipari was the one that went to the NCAA.
I've also heard some people say that it was Tubby Smith, who has actually still a lot of power with friends and people in high places. Some people have said, maybe the former AD. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there.
Somebody says this sounds like the perfect case for Elijah and Sydney Strait. If they come back and do an episode on this case, it could save the whole show. Here's the problem. They lost. They battled. The only case they've lost so far on that show was against the NCAA. That's the only thing they haven't won, was the one against the NCAA. Even the Straits can't beat the NCAA. So I don't know. I'm not sure they want to come back and take this on, try and take on the NCAA again. Somebody says if Wiseman can't play, he should sue the NCAA for damages. They changed their initial decision at a point when he couldn't play for a new school. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing here is by doing it in the timeline for whatever reason that they did, they screwed him over. Like, it's like by saying, no, you're eligible. Yeah, we screwed up, but no, you're still eligible. And then all of a sudden you get to a point where he can't go anywhere else going, oh, yeah, no, you're not eligible. They have, yes, really screwed him over in that situation.
I think Wiseman would win a lawsuit and have a monetary reward because absolutely that their judgment and their change after that judgment has affected his year, whether it be playing professionally or playing in college without any problems, without any issues, which is certainly not the case. He would win that case. There's no question in my mind, even without Street representing him. Let's go to the phone lines. 360-8255. First Bank phone lines are open. Nate is first up. Hi, Nate.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
So, the thing that I find most confusing and ridiculous about this whole thing is if the basis for James's ineligibility would be because Penny is a booster and always will be a booster, why is it that all the other players are not ineligible too?
Well,
I mean, the rules. If you're a booster, the rules prohibit any booster from doing any recruitment. How can he be a coach?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Instead of like an extra benefits thing, you're just talking about strictly recruiting a player.
Yeah. If he has been declared a booster,
right,
then by rule he can't recruit any players. He can't be involved in recruiting. Period.
But can you?
Well, once he became the head coach, now you're the head coach. You're not a booster.
Yeah, but argument. I'm sure Nate's argument is, well, you became the head coach. You shouldn't. What happened in 2008?
How can you become a head
Shouldn't
coach
matter.
if you're a booster?
Right.
You can't do it.
Well, yeah, you can. You could be a booster and then become a head coach.
No, you can. I know he's saying you can, but it's like if they're going to stick to the letter of the law and you can't do any recruiting out there, well, then technically you're a booster. Now you're the head coach. If they're going to use this as a booster while he's the head coach, then why wouldn't they use it against him for the recruitment of all the players? Right? Right, Nate? That's what you're saying? Yeah.
That's my point.
I get you. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the phone call. Well, no, why doesn't that make sense, what he's saying? What Nate's bringing up.
Because once he became the head coach, he's no longer a booster, so he recruits because he's the head coach. That's
the whole argument of this case is now that he's the head coach, they're saying he's still a booster.
No, you're a booster. He was a booster when he paid the money.
You're a booster in perpetuity.
Exactly, but he didn't. The whole thing here was that he wasn't the head coach when he paid this money, so he was a booster, is what they're saying. Once you become the head coach, you're no longer a booster. You're the head. Well, you are a booster because you're the head coach of the team, but you're head. So that has nothing to do with one and the other. The recruiting of players as a head coach is recruiting players as a head coach.
Obvious.
The paying a kid when you weren't the head coach, that's where it matters whether you were a booster or not.
What did I say earlier about the verbiage? I mean, we're talking semantics here. I understand what Nate is saying. I don't take it to heart, but he's right in the sense of if we're using the term booster and they're putting that label on Penny Hardaway, then technically, even as a head coach, he's still a booster. And if you look at the rules of the booster can't recruit. That's what he's saying. I understand. It wouldn't hold its own in the court of law, but I understand where Nate's coming from completely, what he's saying there. Again, it's a matter of it's all going to be words and definition and the way you and we're also talking about statute of limitations, but the way you look at the rule and the rule how it was intended to be. I mean, that's what it's come down to. Joe is next. Hi, Joe. Joe, you there?
Hey,
Greg. I had a question. How do y'all think this is going to affect the recruiting that's coming up in the next few months?
Well, I think it could. Let me talk about that. It's a good point, Joe. Appreciate the phone call. If you're Jalen Green, and he's already, according to reports, gone from possibly announcing early his college intentions, and now it's going to be at the end of the season, there's a chance that he may skip it altogether. I'm not saying I don't know the kid, but you look at this and you go, do I need this headache? Do I want this headache? Let me go and do what R.J. Hampton's doing. So I think it could have some effect. I'm not saying it will absolutely, but I think it could have some effect on recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, especially if you're a kid that at any point accepted anything from anybody, like you go, wait a second, like, is this going to, like, could this person end up something or another, and they deem that as something improper? You'd have to certainly look at that. Like, even if you thought something was innocent at one point, like now you go, wait a second, maybe this is going to have some effect on me. So, yeah, I would just rather not have to try and deal with all of that.
Now, guys that are using college to improve their stock are still going to go in that direction. But we're talking about the upper echelon players who now may say, the hell with this. I'm still going to be a top 2-3 pick in the NBA draft. I'm going to go make some money.
I wonder going forward out of like the top 100 on ESPN's list, how many of those guys are going to choose to go overseas and make money? Like, I don't think that this is helping the NCAA in any in any stretch.
Right. Now, Joe that was a great point to bring that up, Joe, about the recruiting.
Some other text here. on the First Bank text line. So it says this could get tricky. If a booster gives money to a school and a coach or recruiter decides he needs a player, he goes to the booster and says, declare yourself as not being a booster and help this kid out. Yeah, I mean, again, that's the one thing. The one thing that will come out of this, I would assume, one way or another, is kind of we will get a clear definition of what constitutes a booster. And if you give money 30 years ago or 10 years ago, or there's the level of money and does the time, how does that, I would think we would get a pretty clear, a better understanding at least of what is a booster.
And then will that definition really matter coming up in 3-4 years?
Let me
I think that's the issue we're at right now. Is we're at a crossroads with the NCAA.
Yeah.
So it's like no one is in favor of what they do, and I think this case is going to show that more than anything.
But you're right. The definition of the word, the verbiage. That's what we're talking about here. And let me bring this up to use it in the James Wiseman situation. Chase Young with Ohio State. Over the weekend, of course, he sat out. They decided not to play him. And they massacred my Maryland Terrapins, which was expected. But the word was that it looks like he's going to get a 4-game suspension. That's the rumblings we heard, right, Eli?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I don't get. Tony Pauline, who's been on the show, Mike Florio originally on Pro Football Talk, and I haven't seen anything since, were saying that they had 3 sources that connects an agent to Chase Young, as opposed to a, air quotes, family friend. If it was a family friend, paid back the money for supposedly to buy a plane ticket to send his girlfriend out to the Rose Bowl, whatever that was, okay, I understand that. Pay your penance and move on. If this was an agent, how would 4-game suspension should be? No, he's done, and he's ineligible. And Ohio State used an ineligible player. Now, I think, again, it's all stupid in the whole scheme of things, but if we're going by technicalities and we're going by the letter of the law, he should be ineligible, not a suspension. Am I missing something here?
I don't.
But they have to prove it first.
From his perspective, I don't think it matters what the person does. Now, the agent is the one that would be in trouble there. I don't think it matters. I mean, if you have, you're looking for a family friend that has that type of money or whatever. Like, if he could prove he paid back the loan, like, I don't think it matters who.
So as long as he doesn't sign with the agent, if it's just taking money from the agent, that's okay.
I think he did.
Well, he
prove
will sign that agent because that agent will get.
I think it's been proven that he paid it back. And I know.
But again, is there a difference between an agent or a friend? Is there a difference?
If that agent is a family friend.
As of right now, yes, there's a difference. As of right now, it's a difference.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I could always say that too.
But I'm getting tired of these things. Like, seriously, I mean, he paid back the loan. Let him go. Just let him do what he needs to do.
I agree with that.
To me,
but
if you paid it back, it shouldn't matter anything.
But this was the family, out of all the people, the family friend happened to be if it's true, an agent. Come on now. I mean, James Wiseman, we're not talking about an agent here. Taking money from an agent. We're taking money from the high school coach who paid for the move, which, again, was a TSSAA issue before he was the head coach at Memphis, and now they're going back to when he was a booster in 2008 on something that they already knew about and then gave the approval for James Wiseman to play back in May.
I guess my biggest issue, he paid back the loan. If he paid back the loan, what does this matter? What are we talking about? It's not like he's not really getting improper benefits. I mean,
in the end, he got nothing.
He paid for it.
It's just like somebody gives you $20.
So, Gabe,
here you go.
I got nothing out of this.
If James Wiseman's mother paid back Penny Hardaway $11,500, should he be cleared?
I think he should be cleared anyway. I just think the NCAA is in a spot where they still can enforce their laws, and they're going to do it to the bitter end because they want to govern something. They want to govern something, and they feel like they're losing control.
All right.
Somebody says, I say fight your fight, not going to win, but fight so that if you're not invited to the tournament, your fans still get to watch him. Somebody says, how can the Wiseman situation even be an issue to begin with? What was done in high school, not at college. Well, then he was totally cleared to play in May. With being cleared to play, it's over, end of story. Well, no, not with the NCAA, it's not. I mean, Derrick Rose taught us that here.
Right.
They cleared him, and then they end up finding out, later on that they decided he wasn't eligible. But Again,
but here's the
this
thing.
one is just strange because unless they could come up with, unless there was new information that they got now, and it, from everything we've seen, like there's no new information. It's just all of a sudden they decided that the two previous rulings, one even admitting it was a mistake, like saying, yes, we screwed up, but we're going to stick with it. And then to come back 5 months later and go, yeah, no, we changed our mind again. If there's no new information, that's the one I think you could win in court because you go, wait a second, what was the change for?
I can guarantee you the NCAA, after ruling on this in May and having to deal with a million other different cases, didn't just decide after Wiseman played one game and was getting ready to play a second game, oh, we're going to look at this again. And even though the information is the same, we're going to rule it differently. They were told to look at it, or something was given to them. No new information, but somebody in authority, they had to be steered in that direction because they didn't do this on their own. If they came back with new information, that's understandable. They did not.
Somebody says, did James get ruled eligible before he decided to come to Memphis or after? Before he actually came to Memphis, because it was back in May was when he was first ruled eligible. So he has not, he was committed and all that, signed, but he was not at Memphis yet. So that, again, if they would have at that point ruled him ineligible, then he could have had other options. At this point, really isn't any other options. You're kind of screwed because the season started and you're here.
Right. They were looking into his eligibility way earlier than that, but it was finally ruled in May that he was eligible.
They were looking at him back in they've been
January,
long time.
Yeah, long time.
They've been very curious of James Wiseman for a long time.
Let me go to the First Bank phone lines. Mike is dialed in. Hi, Mike.
Hey, this is kind of interesting since they got the ruling in May, and that's about the time we signed about 3 or 4 big time players. But to me, the lawsuit is Wiseman suing the university and the NCAA. Technically, the university is doing what the NCAA says. He's suing them in court on breach of contract, basically, or reneging on a promissory situation. So he becomes eligible. The university can then turn to the NCAA and go, we tried to do what you told us to do, so we didn't do anything wrong.
I don't know.
Isn't that right? I mean, the university's really not involved in this lawsuit, technically. They're being sued. They're one of the defendants. And it can be in the Chancery Court since I heard this from the lawyers, but it can be in the Chancery Court because one of the University of Memphis is in Tennessee. And also they have members in the University of Tennessee, which make the NCAA an in-state situation.
Right, I know they're going to try to get it to federal and all that, but here's how I think the university is involved.
Over $75,000.
Well, whatever the case,
not over $75,000.
Well, here's the $100,000 is over $75,000.
I mean, $11,000. What I'm saying, there's a level that it has to be monetarily wise, or it can't go to the federal court.
Right, but it's $100,000. They're arguing about the whole deal with the. With whether he's a booster or not, and that was $100,000 gift. So that's
$1 gift.
I'm sorry, $1 million gift.
Talking about $100,000.
The case here, Mike, is whether or not Penny Hardaway is a booster. Right? He was deemed a booster because he gave $1 million.
The whole thing is whether James Wiseman was misled by the school and the NCAA. That's what the whole crux of the matter is. He could have done something else if he had known, and the NCAA came in and said he can play. So he was misled by the school and the NCAA.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. And plus, the NCAA has a one-strike policy. Usually, if they come down with an opinion and they find out something else, usually they stick with the original opinion, and they didn't in this case.
Yeah, but here's how Memphis is involved, because Memphis now, by playing him, right,
the NCAA... They have to because it's going to be a court order.
No, but they're
following the court order.
But they went out and got that court order.
No, they didn't.
But they don't have to.
That's why they're named as a defendant, Greg.
The University of Memphis wasn't also named in that
injunction?
They're
being sued by Wiseman and the NCAA. Yeah. The defendants are the Memphis and the NCAA.
But
that's the defendants.
So
they have to do that because Memphis is a member of the NCAA.
Right, but how is Memphis not involved if they're named? That's my point.
They're not involved. They're really a defendant.
Right, but they're involved in the case. That's my point. You said they weren't involved at all.
No, they're not involved in the case. They're only involved because.
Okay, you just said they're not, but they are.
Look,
Right.
The case is they declared that he was eligible because the NCAA declared him eligible.
Right, right.
And then they declared him ineligible. So if you're Wiseman and you're the balance is that their case is against the school and the NCAA.
Yes, because the school is part of the NCAA.
That's my point.
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. What they say about Trump could shoot somebody in Manhattan and get away with it, I think Penny or Wiseman could probably shoot a couple of people in Memphis and get away with it.
All right, Mike. Thank you, my friend.
If it's tried in Memphis, they certainly have a sympathetic ear.
God, my head hurts from that. I understand what Mike's saying. The point was Memphis is still named. They're still involved. He said they weren't involved, and they are involved, but they're only involved because of this. They're involved, whether it's they're part of the whole deal. All right, we need to take a break. We'll come back, and we're going to switch gears, talk some college football. It was a pretty eventful weekend. Arkansas needs a new head coach. Is Mike Norvell going to be on that short list? And what about LSU? How wrong Barrett Sallee was. How wrong Eli Savoie was. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56.
How wrong were you on the passing yardage, and how right was I on that?
How right was I with Ed Orgeron? That's all that matters. And 87.7, this is Middays.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab a seat for Happy Hour. Johnny Radio's Happy Hour from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Need physical therapy but don't know where to go? Tried physical therapy but had a bad experience? Grab your physician's referral and head to Revolution Physical Therapy at the corner of Goodman and Getwell. At Revolution PT, you'll get one-on-one, hands-on therapy. Better and more thorough than just going to the gym. Revolution is locally owned and staffed by neighbors who care about your maximum recovery. And they accept all major insurances. Certified in dry needling, expert in myofascial release. Always relaxed and friendly. Revolution Physical Therapy is just what you need.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
In case you haven't noticed, there's a renaissance going on in downtown Memphis, and you can enjoy a perfect panoramic view of everything that's happening at 3rd and Court, Memphis's new downtown diner. Settle into a seat at the counter or one of the spacious booths, order a delicious classic diner meal, have a cocktail if you'd like, and watch the exciting changes that are happening every day in downtown Memphis. This time of year, you can always find a reason to go downtown, and another one of those reasons is 3rd and Court, where old school diner meets today's modern palate. It's time for some good food downtown. It's time for 3rd and Court.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything, a tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels and gold and silver and more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, diamonds, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts in wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis, local and family-owned. Whatever your dream, make it come true at James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Ruddock Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day, group play, and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. barksdaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at barksdaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say barks.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Gold Strike Casino and Resort in Tunica. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
So despite all the James Wiseman hoopla and stories that are happening and what's going to happen in the long run, all the question marks that are out there, Memphis played basketball Friday night and won by 46 points and are now 2-0. They will play Oregon tomorrow night. Team's already out there on the West Coast, and the Tigers have moved up a spot from 14 to 13 in the latest Men's Basketball Association poll, AP poll, I should say, AP. They are number 13. Meanwhile, the football team has moved up a spot. The Tigers were off this past week. They jumped from 19 to 18 in both the AP poll and the coaches poll. And it was, despite the Tigers having an off weekend, they'll be back in action Saturday against Houston. It was an eventful weekend, to say the least. And here to talk some college football, as he does each and every Monday, is Barrett Sallee.
It's time to talk some college football on Sports 56 Middays. Joining Greg and Eli is Barrett Sallee from CBSSports.com, CBS Sports HQ, and SiriusXM Radio. Now, here's Barrett with Greg and Eli.
Barrett Sallee joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee. Again, college football writer for CBS Sports, CBS Sports HQ, and SiriusXM College Radio host. And he joins us now on Middays. Hey, Barrett, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How are y'all?
Doing fantastic. Before we jump into Bama and LSU and Penn State, Minnesota, close to us, at least not too far down the interstate, is the University of Arkansas, where, as you know, Chad Morris was let go. Morris in just his second year, 4-18, 0-14 in the SEC. He had that very passionate plea to say he was the right guy after getting thrashed by Western Kentucky 45-19. It did not work. So he's gone. Now, what do you do if you're Arkansas?
Well, I think you call the guy that's in your neck of the woods and Mike Norvell, like you said before. Very eventful football weekend in Memphis, despite the fact that Memphis didn't play a single game. So I think they call Mike Norvell. I think they, he's going to be a front runner. Is he going to be the favorite? Is he going to be the head coach at Arkansas? I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of silly to just assume that he's going to be the guy for both sides. I mean, does Arkansas want to go in that direction, group of five coach who's, up and coming and offensively driven, or, does Mike Norvell want that job, or does he want to stick around and wait for a bigger one? I think both of those are legitimate questions that will and should be asked. After that, the odds that popped up from BetOnline AG had one name that I didn't think about, but I think would be really good for that job, and that's Elijah Drinkwitz. But, again, does Arkansas want to go group of five, especially a guy like that who's extremely inexperienced? Look, for me, I would hire Hugh Freeze. He doesn't need to be blackballed from major college coaching. I mean, I know he's at Liberty now, but I mean, he's a good coach. He won at an elite level at a talent disparity. Like, it's not like, I know people say, oh, Hugh Freeze is cheating. Okay, fine. But it's not like those rosters were anywhere close to the teams that he was beating. I mean, they were not even close. So, what got him fired is bad. But, I mean, let's be honest. Is he the only one in college football who's doing that? The answer is no. I mean, he's the only one that publicly is doing that. But I mean, come on. So I would do that. I would look at Lane Kiffin. I think that if Auburn loses to Georgia and Alabama, maybe, Gus looking for a soft landing spot and trying to make both parties happy could be in play. So I think there are a lot of options for Arkansas for sure.
Bear, why do you think this went so poorly under Chad Morris. Is this about Chad Morris, or is this more to be blamed on what Brett Bielema left Chad Morris?
Well, it's the progress that wasn't shown. I mean, last year was last year. I mean, you don't want to go winless in the SEC, but it's a tough transition going from Brett Bielema to what Chad wants to do. Mm-hmm. So, I think they can excuse that, but the fact that they've been so brutally bad. I mean, they paid $3 million to lose to Western Kentucky and San Jose State. There's been zero development of quarterback, despite the fact that Chad went out and got two of his guys, one who played for him and the other who he recruited heavily, and they regressed. I mean, Nick Starkel was pretty effective at Texas A&M, and suddenly he's terrible at Arkansas. So it's the transition, I think, should have allowed and did allow a pretty big margin for error for Chad, and certainly, at least at the start, bought him a ton of time, but he has to show at least a little progress. Yeah. And I mean, the regression of that program under Chad Morris is startling. I mean, to think that like 2 years ago when Brett Bielema got fired on the field against Missouri, remember that? Mm-hmm. That the program has gone so far south since that point is frightening.
It doesn't help that a quarterback you got rid of came back and haunted you on Saturday.
No, that did not help. No.
I love the candidates you brought up. There's one other one, and I'll have to ask you because I don't know if he would leave Pullman. But look, and I know they're struggling a little bit. Washington State's 4-5, but Mike Leach to Arkansas, his colorful, charismatic character would be a breath of fresh air, would it not?
100%. I would, and I think he would leave Arkansas or Washington State for Arkansas. I mean, Mike Leach was going to be the Tennessee head coach. I mean, I think people sort of get lost in Schiano's Sunday and the week after that and all that other stuff.
Right.
John Curry screwed everything up, but then John Curry was actually going to do the right thing with Mike Leach, was flying to Pullman and got fired before he could land.
Oh, gosh.
But he was going to do the right thing, right? Like he was going to do it. And Mike Leach was in. So, I mean, yeah, if Arkansas wants to go that route, I think he would take it. Would Arkansas do that? They should. Do I think that they will? I don't think that they would put that at the top of their priority list because I think that they'd like to find somebody with heavy recruiting ties that's an aggressive recruiter. Chad really isn't that. His staff really isn't that either. So my guess is that they would put more of an emphasis on Southern recruiting and Southern coaches. But it's going to be an option, and it should be an option. And if they ask Mike Leach, I would bet that he took it. He takes it.
He coached in Texas, so he had to recruit some kids to his school at Texas. So I think there's some.
That's what they liked about Chad Morris too. That didn't.
I know.
Right, that didn't work out so well.
The whole Texas thing, they may want to just give up on that and go a different direction.
But at least Leach is coming from Power 5 schools, where Morris came from SMU. But anyway,
and Mike Leach also has won at a extreme talent gap. Like Texas Tech, Crabtree's Crabtree, I get that, but he knows how to coach his players up in his system to be competitive, even when they're playing teams that are just vastly, that they're vastly overmatched.
I agree.
He can do that really, really well.
Barrett, are we prepared for a world of possibly Ed Orgeron, national championship head coach?
No. I mean, no. When you say it just like that and have no other context, no, I'm not ready for that. Could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. That's a really good football team, and he's done such a good job, swallowing his pride and figuring out, how he needs to win at an elite level in this day and age. I mean, he's done a great job. So yeah, I mean, we better get ready for saying Ed Orgeron national championship coach, because it certainly can happen. Imagine, and I saw this on Twitter, and it was so true. Imagine 10 years ago somebody telling you that Ed Orgeron is playing in the biggest game, coaching in the biggest game of the year with the college football playoff berth on the line with President Donald Trump in attendance? What part of that would be the most surprising part?
Oh my gosh, there's too many parts of that to talk about. How crazy that is. But here's the look. I don't know why I thought it would work out for Orgeron. I can't tell you. I'm some stinking genius that I just thought the second or third go around it would work because he was in his element. He was in Louisiana. That the whole Cajun thing would work in his favor. And I got that one right. And in the game Saturday, Eli was on top of that one because he said it would be the high-scoring game because of the receivers, and it did not disappoint, with Burrow nearly going for 400 and Tua going for over 400. But the question now is, Barrett, as we get ready for the playoff committee's standings tomorrow night for the second week, where will Alabama be? And the argument right now in college football with college football fans and even the pundits is, does Alabama still belong or not belong? So what is your stand on all that?
I think they'll be number 4 tomorrow, and I think that's the right spot for them. I mean, Minnesota's not going to jump them. Baylor's not going to jump them. They're going the other one-loss teams, probably obviously from a resume standpoint, don't have the loss that Alabama has. I mean, it's excusable to a point. So there will be some outrage because I do think they'll be number 4. That's where I have them in my CBS 130 ballot. And here's the thing. It doesn't mean they're going to stay at 4, right? Like the whole world's going to freak out because there's this Bama bump and they're the darlings of college football and all this other stuff. Look, if everything stays normal and Bama's number 4 tomorrow, they're not going to be number 4 forever. Like, Baylor would jump them. Minnesota would jump them. Georgia would jump them if they beat LSU in the SEC championship game. Like, it's as of this moment in time, and they have the eye test working for them, and they have a really good loss, albeit a loss, to say, all right, look, we got beat by the best team in college football, and we dang near won the football game. So, I mean, they'll be number 4. People will get mad, but the truth of the matter is, no matter where they are very susceptible to be jumped by a lot of different teams because they're probably not going to make the conference championship game. And really, if they win out from here, what's their signature win? Auburn, which might be a 4-loss team at that point.
Right.
I know last year we all thought it was over with, and Tua would win it, and he ended up not. But how big is Joe Burrow's lead in the Heisman chase now?
It's pretty big. I think Justin Fields is probably the only one who can win it after, because I mean, Jalen Hurts, I'm sorry, and Tom Luganville, my partner on Sirius XM, was on this way before everybody else. Jalen hasn't progressed that much. I mean, the system is plug and play, and some of the throws that Jalen makes, and even really made when things were going well early, it's not the kind of performance that's Heisman caliber and Heisman worthy. So, I think it's Justin Fields. I think it's Joe Burrow, and I mean, Joe Burrow has done so much right now, so he definitely deserves it. But Justin Fields can do it too. Justin Fields has what it takes, and he's got the schedule and the high-profile program to do it too, but I think he's the only one.
I thought Brock Purdy outplayed him.
I think so too. I absolutely think so. I absolutely think Brock Purdy did. So, and that hurts, and the fact that they're probably not going to make the playoff, even if they have one loss, is problematic as well.
All right, so Minnesota did what I didn't think they would do. I completely got that one wrong. I thought Penn State would win. I thought Penn State would score the 31 and win. Minnesota scored the 31 and won the game. They still got to go to Iowa. Northwestern shouldn't be a problem on the road, though. And then Wisconsin before, hopefully for their sake, the championship game of the Big Ten. But that's some obstacles still to go. But they were really impressive.
Yeah,
so how good are they, Barrett?
I think they're pretty good. I don't know what their top end is, but I love Tanner Morgan. I think he's done a really good job. They've got 3 good running backs. I think they've got A defense that's serviceable, but it's not elite. Part of that was Penn State being maybe a little bit overrated, especially from an offensive standpoint, maybe a little limited. But a lot of it also is Minnesota just being pretty darn solid. They've got a solid defense front to back. They've got a couple NFL players on that. Antoine Whitfield's kids were really, really good. So, I think Minnesota, the top 15-ish team, I think they have benefited from the schedule, and the win over Penn State certainly helps. But do I see them getting to Indianapolis unscathed? No, not really. I mean, I think they could lose to Wisconsin. They could lose at Iowa this weekend. I mean, I think they're not what Wisconsin was 2 years ago. They're not what Iowa was, whatever that was, 3 or 4 years ago, and Michigan State in 2015, where they're good enough to get through to the Big Ten championship game with everything on the line. I just don't see that possible with that team.
All right, it'll be interesting tomorrow night to see what happens with the committee. He is Barrett Sallee, college football writer for CBS Sports, CBS Sports HQ, and SiriusXM college radio host. You can follow him on Twitter at Barrett Sallee and catch him every Monday on Sports 56 Middays during the college football season. Barrett, thanks. Have a great week.
All right, thanks, guys.
East Coast Wings and Grill, the place to go to watch the games. Boy, it was packed up there for the LSU-Alabama game on Saturday, and it was overwhelmingly Alabama, but there were a few LSU fans that got the final laugh up at East Coast Wings and Grill. 60 different flavors of wings, just great food to choose from beyond the wings, too, with juicy Angus burgers and flatbreads and other items, and it's always fresh, never frozen food at East Coast Wings and Grill. Today being Monday, that means it's wing day. You got 65-cent boneless wings, 75-cent bone-in wings all day long. 3:30 to 6 and 9 to close. Monday through Friday is happy hour with some half-price appetizers, great discounts on draft beers, $12 buckets of beer as well, and 2-for-1 wine for the ladies. It's a great place to go watch the games or to take the family. Great atmosphere, very family-friendly atmosphere as well at East Coast Wings and Grill, just off Highway 64 next to Lowe's in Bartlett. Go check them out at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Shout out to Front Row Jay. He finally beat me on a LSU-Alabama bet. I owe you lunch, buddy. We'll take a break. When we come back, Tennessee has moved a step closer to bowl eligibility, and I'll tell you where I think their destination is. A little more college football talk. Hour number 3, the good, bad, and ugly. More of your calls and texts, and back into the James Wiseman saga. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Jim Gray from Westwood One here with a Monday Night Football preview. It's a big NFC West matchup with the league's last undefeated team, the San Francisco 49ers, playing host to the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers escaped with a 3-point win last week over the Cardinals, but head coach Kyle Shanahan says that was Jimmy Garoppolo's best game so far.
On third down, that pass rush is coming. They always have their best coverages and blitz called, and you need a good guy back there. And everyone knows how well he can throw, can get his numbers. He's gotten it before. I thought the most impressive thing was the amount of times we threw, how many plays he made, and that we had no turnovers with it.
Russell Wilson and Seattle escaped an overtime win over the Bucs last week to move to 7-2. Kevin Harlan and Hall of Famer Kurt Warner will have the call on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
O'Reilly. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for our See Better, Drive Safer sale. Right now, get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase select Sylvania bulbs for your headlights. Plus, earn double O-Rewards points. Visit your professional parts people today at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Family is big around here. We're family-owned, family-operated, family-managed. And that means legacy. That means dependability. That means using Grainger. With over 1.5 million products and knowledgeable product experts, Grainger has whatever we need. And with same-day pickup and next-day delivery options, they have it whenever we need it. For over 90 years, businesses like ours have trusted Grainger. Because, like family, Grainger's got our back. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farm All, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag Equipment can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, these tractors can tackle every chore on your to-do list. Call 662-890-3141 or stop in today to find a Case IH Farm All that's right for you.
New Life Medical Center has moved to a new, larger location that allows them to better serve their patients. I go to New Life Medical Center for testosterone replacement therapy, which is one of many things they do. They also treat erectile dysfunction and can relieve the pain of joint injuries with stem cell and platelet-rich plasma treatments. They also take care of patients with diabetes, high blood pressure, sick visits, and much more with no appointment necessary and minimal wait times. New Life Medical Center is now at 9160 Highway 64. That's just off I-40. Stop in and see what they can do for you.
It's the holidays, people, and our guys at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch told me to say a big thank you to everyone driving All-Star Chevys, and to each of you wanting to buy a new Chevy to come to All-Star Chevy today. Test drive the Silverado, Traverse, the new Camaro. It's ABC simple. A, the All-Star Chevy Challenge to bring any written offer from any Mid-South Chevy dealer to All-Star so they can give you a better deal or buy you a tank of gas. B, better buying experience that's fast and fun for you. And C, customer care to take care of everything you need so all your future cars and trucks to be in the All-Star family. Because over 75% of All-Star customers are repeat buyers, and no other Mid-South Chevy dealer can say that. So find new roads to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Not South Haven, not The Pike, not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. So go to allstarautogroup.com and find the Chevy you want. If you don't see it there, they can get it for you fast. allstarautogroup.com.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
AC trouble? Make your first call your last call. Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60, and 24-hour emergency service is billed at normal rates. Your comfort is their highest priority. Contact airdoctorsofmemphis.com or call 901-598-HVAC.
Bust it. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by Gold Strike Casino and Resort in Tunica. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
It was a little hairy for Tennessee Vols fans down the stretch, but they hang on and they win at Kentucky 17-13 to improve to 5-5. Jeremy Pruitt went to Jarrett Garantano. He came off the bench in the second half through 2 second-half touchdowns, but it was that goal line stand and some really questionable play calling by Mark Stoops. I understand they have the converted receiver playing quarterback, but they kept rushing up the middle. And Tennessee made the goal line stand. Credit to them. So now they have to win either at Missouri next week, and I know Missouri's better at home, but they have been horrible the last month, or Vanderbilt at home. And Vanderbilt, they're going to make it. Coaching change. There's no doubt in my mind Derek Mason's not surviving this one. They're not even close. So I think Tennessee's going to get to 6, maybe even 7. I think they're going to end up in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game, and I think they're going to end up playing, I don't know. I don't have a guess from the Big 12, but I think if not, it's going to end up being a team from the American Conference, depending on the SEC and how many teams are eligible. But right now, you got to think about it, Eli. South Carolina's done. That lost to Appalachian State. They're 4-6. They got to play Clemson still. They're not going to be bowl eligible. I don't know what's going on with Mizzou and the waiver. Arkansas obviously not making it. Vanderbilt's not making it. Ole Miss would have to beat LSU this week, which is not going to happen. They're not making it. Still questionable about Kentucky and Mississippi State. So they may not have enough teams, but I think there's a good chance if it works out the way and Swanky allows it. I think Tennessee is destined for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game because I do believe they'll get their 6th. And that's a credit to Jeremy Pruitt and how they turn things around.
Yeah, he's done a good job of kind of recovering this season and saving this season. I will say that they end up losing this game, but what Kentucky's doing with a receiver playing quarterback is actually quite amazing to me.
It is.
They're winning games. They're competitive in games. Like, they cannot throw the ball. They cannot throw the ball, and yet somehow they're staying in games and actually have won with this situation.
Well, you're right about that. Now, Tennessee gave them with the what was it, a fumble? Yeah, it was a muff on a punt. I'm trying to remember how they got the ball back, Kentucky, but they got it on a turnover. And the play calls by Kentucky was run, because you're right, they can't throw the ball. But down on the goal line, I thought maybe they get the kid, was it Bolin? Who's the quarterback?
Bowden.
Bowden.
Bowden Jr.
Get Bowden outside, man, with his speed. They kept running up the middle. So I thought it was a little bit questionable.
What did they throw? 8 passes in the game, I think it was. Like
7. I was thinking about this. How mad do you think those receivers are? Oh, they're probably irate with their decision.
You're literally
made.
now just a blocker. Like you're like, hey, sorry guys, we're never going to throw the ball. You're just a blocker.
Yeah, there was 4 different receivers who caught a pass, and there's 4 passes caught in the whole game.
But it's amazing to me how they are continuing to be very competitive in the situation they're in. Like, it's harder. You just tell the other team, hey, we're not throwing it. And we're not like we're running triple option. Like, we're not a triple option. We can't throw because we don't have a quarterback who can throw the ball.
No, it says a lot about...
And you took your best receiver. That's part
and
of it.
moved him to quarterback.
You took your best receiver to make him the quarterback.
It says a lot about Mark Stoops and that coaching staff and those players. By the way, we were talking earlier about the Minnesota game. It took an interception in the end zone by Minnesota's Jordan Howden to end that game. But it was quite the game. You had a couple of teams surviving. Oklahoma wins 42-41 over Iowa State as Matt Campbell goes for 2 with 24 seconds left, and it probably should have been caught. I love Matt Campbell's gamble there, even though they ended up losing the game. But Oklahoma gets a gift right there. And then Baylor survives in triple overtime, knocking off TCU 29-23. I guess just win, baby, right?
They have now won, the Texas Tech win 2 overtimes, I think it was. So they're getting by on the skin of their teeth, but they're getting by.
App State beating South Carolina, which I thought earlier in the season it would happen. Now I started to think, they lost to Georgia Southern. It won't happen. It did. South Carolina toast. App State now has wins over North Carolina and South Carolina, but has that one bad loss to Georgia Southern. Hour 2 of the program is brought to you by the Gold Strike Casino Resort and the new Moneyline Book Bar and Grill, the South's premier sports entertainment venue inside the Gold Strike Casino Resort. And what's really cool is when you go to the Gold Strike, you can go to the book. You can also walk around the casino. You can walk around the resort, and there's a bunch of different sites where you can go to the 10 betting kiosks and place a bet. So it doesn't have to be just at the book. It can be anywhere around the resort where they have the kiosks. But you can watch the games at the book on 60 HD screens while you lounge in plush seating, enjoy craft beer, signature cocktails, amazing food as well. And don't miss the Topgolf Swing Suite, a virtual reality experience with a variety of fun, interactive games that every sports fan will love. With a 50-foot bar, 16 video poker machines, and lively entertainment, Moneyline Book Bar and Grill is the South's only venue that brings together sports, gaming, dining, and nightlife into one exciting destination. Whether you're an avid sports fan or just looking for a special place to have a good time with friends, the state-of-the-art 6,000-square-foot setting is the place to be. Visit the Moneyline Bar, Book, and Grill at Gold Strike Casino Resort for Monday Night Football tonight. All types of happy hour specials or anytime you want a piece of the best sports action in Mississippi. It's the new Moneyline Book Bar and Grill at the Gold Strike Casino Resort. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll talk a little Grizzlies, the good, bad, and the ugly. More of your calls and texts on James Wiseman. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
I love fall. The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. Gourmet Chef Drew invites you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main downtown has all your game day needs with 30 TVs. If your game is not on one of the 20 big screens, then sit in a booth with your own remote. The Vault has game day specials on pitchers, buckets of beer, and great food, which is the best thing about the Vault. This is not your normal sports bar. Chef Dirk Meitzler from On Tour and Cafe 621 has all his favorites like Chicken Newport and his new lobster enchilada. Open for lunch and dinner every day with lunch specials for $12 weekdays with a drink. The Vault on G.E. Patterson in South Main, your downtown place to eat, drink, and watch the game.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Pop a top on a barrel thief or sneaky pucker from 34 North Cocktails today. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
This show is flying by. So much to talk about here on this Veterans Day edition of Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoie, Gabe Kuhn again. Thank you and a salute to all our veterans out there, active or retired, those that have passed away. Thank you to all their families as well for serving our great country and protecting us. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And Sports 56 Middays is delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, FedEx. No matter what stage you're at in your business, there's room to grow online. Learn more at fedex.com/e-commerce.
Got some more text messages here on the Wiseman situation, as well as some on football and the coaching situation. Somebody, when Barrett Sallee mentioned, and Hugh Freeze's name has come up from others for Arkansas. So we said Arkansas simply cannot hire the Ole Miss version of Bobby Petrino. That I do think with Hugh would be a little. That's the Arkansas part. When what happened with Bobby Petrino happened, I think that probably makes it a little harder to hire Hugh Freeze. But I don't know that it would be out of the question.
I think, and some people have said, well, will they have a hesitation at trying to hire a second straight American Conference head coach? They grabbed Chad Morris from SMU. It did not work out. And the thought is Mike Norvell. I don't think they would have a problem with that. I think Mike Norvell would certainly be at the top of their board. But I don't think Mike Norvell, and this is not coming from any inside information or from Mike himself, I don't think Mike would take it. Right now it's a dumpster fire at Arkansas. You go there, you're losing football games. I don't care how good a coach you are until Saban's gone. And even if Saban's gone at Alabama, it doesn't necessarily guarantee anything at Arkansas. He can wait out. He's a hot commodity and wait till another job or a better job surfaces. Now, I'm not so sure. Leach, maybe, but maybe he likes it up there in Pullman. Right now, they're struggling, and yet he's not under fire. Hugh Freeze, I think what you just said in the texter makes perfect sense. I don't see that one. Lane Kiffin makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, you want to just fire up the fan base and still a very relatively young guy, very innovative, just destroyed Butch Davis in Florida International the other day. I'd look at Lane Kiffin.
Other than possibly Malzahn if he
right.
or whatever goes
right.
There's no doubt in my mind Mike Norvell will be their number one guy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Whether he will take it on, I don't know. I don't know how much money they will offer. I think it's a terrible job. I think it's going to be a terrible job. So I don't know how you get out of it where Arkansas is. But if they throw just a ton of money at you, it can make you go, oh, wait a second. Now this sets me up for a long time, even if I get fired in 3 years.
Well, here's the thing. That money talks, right? But I do believe, and again, this is just my gut telling me this, that Memphis knows what they have. They know the direction they're going in. Their new administration are Power 5 guys that are now with the Memphis athletic department. They're going to find boosters, and I think they can increase it pretty comfortably for Mike. Now, it's not going to be what Arkansas can offer. If you're ultimately looking for the money grab, then you're gone. But I think they can go a lot higher than 2.6 and make Mike Norvell the highest paid Group of 5 head coach. And he would be a coach, I think, that is handsomely paid in comparison to, and maybe even beyond, some of the Power 5 coaches. That's just my gut feeling. I think they can find more money for Norvell if push comes to shove.
One texter says Tigers do not have enough money to keep Norvell. Some Power 5 comes calling with $15 to $20 million over 4 years. And yeah, I don't know if there is a number that Mike Norvell looks at and says, okay, I don't care. That's enough money. That I just got to take it. I would think it would probably be more than that, actually. And the thing with Arkansas, Arkansas's they got access to a lot of money at Arkansas.
They have a lot of resources.
If Jerry Jones and the Walton family and all those folks decide they want to get a head coach, they can come up with a lot of money over there.
Look, if you can double up what he's making now, it's hard to say no to, but it's probably going to be the challenge of challenges, right? You know what you're walking into. But if you can go, he's 2.6 now or somewhere in that neighborhood, 5.2 to 5.5, it's pretty tough. But I think, I don't know. Again, this is just me talking out loud. I think Memphis could probably figure out, $3.5 million for him, maybe at the most, but they can't go 5.
Somebody else says Mike is different than Justin. He's more like Mark Few, in my opinion. When he signed, he said his number one thing was finishing. The question is, what is his definition of finished? He just might be here longer than people think. Go Tigers.
Maybe. But ultimately, there's not a coach. It's very rare in college football. Somebody brought up Greg Marshall last week on our show. Look, he's stuck at Wichita State, and not stuck, meaning he has to be there. He wants to be there, and hasn't pursued any of the bigger jobs when they've come after him. Yes, because you could still win a national championship at Wichita State, and he's still paid handsomely. Any other coach that's in a group of 5, the resources are limited. They all eventually go to the Power 5 schools if offered.
Somebody says the question is, what is Mike Norvell's dream job? Calipari left for Kentucky as his dream job. So what is Norvell's dream job?
Central Arkansas.
I don't know. I don't know if he has.
It's the alma mater. Come on.
I don't know if there is one particular job that would be his dream job or what. I do not know. And if you ask him, he's probably not going to tell you. Somebody else says the money that Arkansas could pay his assistants is the difference. Yeah,
It's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing coordinators of these SEC schools and the Power Five where coordinators are making over $1 million a year. But there's a lot of money at these places.
But I don't think, unless it is the dream job, and that's a good point somebody made about the dream job. If it's not the dream job, I do believe there are going to be better jobs that will surface that Mike Norvell will be in the mix for.
Somebody says, do you think Muschamp at South Carolina loses his job? I wouldn't think he would lose it this year. I think the win over Georgia probably got him at least that slack, but I think he probably goes into next year with a lot of pressure.
It's a bad loss to lose to App State, even though App State's a pretty good football team, but it was a great win over Georgia, and he's dealt with the quarterback situation there. They've had injuries. They've had to deal with that. So I think Muschamp will certainly be back for another year.
That would be my guess, but they do like to fire coaches around the country. they don't mind firing guys, and around the SEC, what the heck? It's just a few more million you got to pay somebody. John says Alabama got robbed on several plays that should have been penalties. I will say, how they missed the one face mask on the punt return, I don't know, but it didn't matter because the guy returned it for a touchdown. But that is the most obvious face mask in the middle of the field where, like, there's nobody else around. Like, you can't have your vision blocked from that. Like, I don't know how they missed that face mask, but again, it didn't matter.
More obvious than the one they missed on Kenny Gainwell?
I would say yes.
Well, maybe they should do to those SEC officials what they did to the Big 12 official who called the penalty on the wrong team. And got
Pac-12.
reprimanded for it. Pac-12, I'm sorry. Pac-12.
Somebody says, anyone who watched that LSU-Bama game will realize they're playing for third in the West. Yeah, I mean, right now, that's with those two teams, that's the best you could possibly hope for. Now, we'll see with LSU.
Wait, what was that statement again?
Anyone who watched that LSU-Bama game will realize you're playing for third in the West.
Oh, yeah.
So
thought you meant those two were playing for third and one.
The question would be whether LSU, once Burrow is gone, because that's been their issue is quarterback play.
Right.
Once Burrow is put together an unbelievable year. When Burrow is gone, can they replace him and keep get another quarterback to come in here? Because if they would have had quarterbacks all these years, who knows how many national championships they would have? That's just been what's held them back is the quarterback position.
How much are you going to have to pay Brady to stay? Because people are going after Brady.
That's a good question.
I would ask also, is it the quarterback position that held them back, or was it the play calling and what Ed O was how run heavy those offenses have been in the past?
Well, yes, Ed Orgeron wouldn't get out of the way of the offense, but even if you're going before Orgeron, if you go, I mean, they've just
Miles.
There's always had a ton of talent there. We know there's always going to be talent everywhere. I mean, you look at the running backs they've gone through, everything else. They're always loaded with talent. You look around the NFL, the quarterback has always been the question mark. And you see when you get a quarterback playing well, like that team's, they're going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's hard not to want to feed the beast when you have Leonard Fournette or any of those great running backs. But they've also, as Eli mentioned, put a lot of wide receivers into the NFL, even without great quarterbacks throwing them the football. Could you imagine if they had a Burrow type and a more diversified offense going to these receivers?
Yeah, and I just point to Joe Burrow last year. I don't think there's anything dramatically changed about him besides what they're doing on offense.
I agree.
Somebody else says that's BS. They missed several face mask and holds in Alabama. I don't think the officials had anything to do with the game one way or another. There were some missed calls probably both ways. LSU was just better. I mean, Alabama could not stop them.
Okay, right now, and I'll ask you this question. I'll answer the question first, is I think Alabama still, to me, is a top 4 team, but their resume is not top 4 right now. So tomorrow night, the standings will come out. Is Alabama in the top 4? This is not deserving. This is not what you think as far as ultimately are they one of the top 4. This is, have they done enough on that resume to be top 4? Gabe?
Just outside. They remind me of Georgia last year to a certain
So they
extent.
will be outside the top 4?
Yes.
Eli?
I agree with Barrett. I think they will be number 4.
You think they will be 4?
But I don't.
That's been a big argument.
But I don't think they'll need help to stay at number 4.
Right, I agree with that.
They're going to need a lot of these teams because they will get past. Because, like you said, I mean, now the best hope for a good win is Auburn, who will end up being a 4-loss team. Like if that's what you're hanging your hat on, like, hey, we beat Auburn, who lost 4 games. That's going to be really tough to make a case in the end to get into the playoff without a division title and really one decent win. Like they'll end up with one decent win, and that'll be it, even if they do win out.
Yeah, this will be one of those deals where do they truly go by resume or do they go by pedigree? Do they go by a team that's been there and done that? Are they afraid to leave them out?
Somebody else says Alabama has no defense, hasn't had it all year. That's why they lost.
They have really struggled defensively. They really have.
Yeah. I mean, this is certainly not the type of Alabama defenses that we have grown accustomed to with Nick Saban's tenure there. Like they have been. I mean, Ole Miss put up 31 against them or whatever. I mean, they've given up yards, they've given up points. Like this is not nowhere near what some of those defenses have been in Nick Saban's years there.
Lawn Solutions is a locally owned weed control fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. Brandon Holly is the owner. Great guy, local guy, and he has a team of professionals that can take care of your lawn. Go to lawnsolutionsinc.net or call him at 901-867-5626. When you do, tell them I sent you. They will kill the weeds, get a green, more beautiful, plush lawn for you during the spring and summer when you're showing off that lawn. But they're taking care of that lawn even now. It's going to get really cold tomorrow. But they're controlling the germination of weeds all year long. They apply the pre-emergence during the winter months, the post-emergence during the summer months. It's a lot easier to prevent the weeds from popping up than it is to kill them, but they can do that as well. They can take care of any disease your lawn has or any insect infestation. When you're thinking about your lawn, I know it's tough to think about it during the dormant months, during the winter, but you need to take care of it all year long. They can do it at Lawn Solutions, lawnsolutionsinc.net, or call them at 901-867-5626.
Going back to the James Wiseman stuff, some text here in the First Bank text line. Paul texted says, I'm also going to sue the NCAA because I upgraded to expensive season tickets after Wiseman was cleared to play. If he's now ruled ineligible, they would owe me damages. There's a lot of levels of things that you could say about, yes, if all of a sudden you ruled somebody eligible and then took him away, like there's a lot of different ways you could look at this from various angles.
Hey, there's been a lot more frivolous lawsuits, and I don't even want to call that one frivolous because it's actually understandable. You spend good money, and all of a sudden they take away the star attraction. I get it.
Somebody says, so in court, does the NCAA tell us the truth about who asked them to reopen this, or are they held in contempt because they refused to? That wouldn't be anything that they would have to disclose.
No, they won't disclose.
It doesn't matter.
It's kind of like the whole argument right now with President Trump and the whistleblower, right? Are they going to have the whistleblower have to talk in court? You know, they're going to be able to expose his name or her name or not.
I mean, there's just nothing that would matter in this case of how they got to that point, because it's they admit that he gave the kid the money and everything else, so it doesn't really matter. Somebody else says, I was a booster for 20 years, but haven't donated in over 10 years. If I'm still a booster, someone needs to tell the university because they sure don't treat me as one.
Take me off the list. No, you're on the list.
Somebody else says, I don't understand the whole attorney court involvement here. Regardless whether or not the court rules in their favor, the NCAA can still rule him ineligible after further investigation and make them vacate any wins where he played. The school could just go on their own and say, we're going to play him regardless of what you say, NCAA. Wiseman could sue them or whatever, but if the courts cannot keep Memphis from being punished, I don't see why their word matters.
No, the courts are being used to judicially get an injunction to allow him to play the entire season. Then after the season's over, eventually the NCAA can put that ruling down. They can hammer him with penalties. They can look at the games and say you used an ineligible player and take away the wins.
But they don't. His point is they don't need that injunction. Memphis can play James Wiseman whether they want to or not, or whether the court tells them there's some injunction or not. They don't. The court, they use this court kind of as a little bit of protection. And this is Wiseman suing. This isn't the university is the defense here as part of the NCAA. This is Wiseman, not the university, suing to say we want to play James Wiseman. The university can play James Wiseman. Like that's it. The president of the university can make that decision. The NCAA says your guy's ineligible. The president of the university can say, well, we're playing him.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think they're looking at it as a safety net to have the injunction Given, and again, they still got to get the green light on the injunction on the 18th, a week from today.
But the university is not going to the court saying, let us play James Wiseman. This is James Wiseman going to court saying, let me play.
Yes, but has Dr. Rudd or anybody at the university said anything about playing him despite the NCAA?
Yeah, they are playing him. Clearly, they don't.
So then why does he need to do that then?
Because he doesn't know they're going to do that. He doesn't know they're going to keep playing him. He's probably doing this to protect himself. Like, I need let's make sure, because the university at any point could say, you know what, we're not going to play him anymore.
True. But I don't understand why you would start to play him despite the NCAA telling you that you're using an ineligible player, basically, and why you would start using him and then all of a sudden stop using him. You're already 2 feet in.
Yeah,
you have put your
James
flag
Wiseman,
down on
what James Wiseman doesn't need to take any chances.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, he wants to make sure, like, and again, and if they do choose not to play him or whatever, or things happen, like he's wants to make sure he has a path to probably some financial recuperation for what the fact that they've screwed him over by taking any opportunity to go somewhere else or whatever away from him.
Yeah, I said that earlier. I think there's no doubt if it ever came down to that from a monetary situation. What do they call that? The suits that are just financial in nature. Certain
civil
lawsuit. I think he would win that.
But yeah, it's to that person's point, though. Yes, the university can play James Wiseman. They don't need the court to tell them anything one way or another. The university can play James Wiseman.
Gotcha.
And whether they want to or not. And I didn't even really realize exactly how that worked. But basically the NCAA, but it's always so weird because the school obviously is part of the NCAA who is telling you that, like, so, but basically the NCAA kind of tells you this, like, this kid is ineligible, but you as the school can always say, like, well, we're playing him, and we get to make that decision. The NCAA is basically giving you a suggestion, like, this kid's ineligible based on this, but and most of the time, the school just goes along with what the NCAA says, like, okay, yeah, we're going to go with your findings. But you can just say, like, no, we think you're wrong. We're going to play the guy.
And that's the case. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Got some basketball news to get into as well. The Grizzlies and Ole Miss with a big commitment yesterday from a Memphian. We'll talk about that when we return. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
The Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Only on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
There's a new commissary in town in Collierville. Germantown Commissary is doubling. Yeah, they're still going to have the old Germantown Commissary by the tracks, but now there's a huge new Germantown Commissary in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levee Road. It's huge, too. There's a drive-through. There's plenty of parking. No telephone pole to get in your way. A cool patio. It's right by the track, so the tradition continues. And this is a tradition that's been around forever. That commissary is famous for hickory-smoked, slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue. They've got a private party room at the new one in Collierville. Self-catering still continues. Party packs for $5.95. Basically, the great ribs, the great pulled shoulder, the great deviled eggs. Everything is there in Collierville and Germantown now. So there is now a Germantown and Collierville style of barbecue. It's called Germantown Commissary.
With Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner, Kevin Harlan here from Westwood One with a preview of Monday Night Football. Kurt, a terrific game in the Bay Area. Undefeated San Francisco against the 7-2 Seattle Seahawks.
I cannot wait to watch this game. Maybe the best team in football when you look at the San Francisco 49ers. Jimmy G playing good football, but it's really about the offense and defensive line. They're able to dominate in both areas. They're running the football extremely well. That defensive front is causing all kinds of havoc for other teams. And then maybe the best player in football in Russell Wilson. I mean, my goodness, the way that he's playing touchdown after touchdown gives them a chance every time out.
Should be a great one. The Seahawks and the 49ers right here on Monday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
O'Reilly.
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for our See Better, Drive Safer sale going on right now. Get great deals on everything from wiper blades to headlight bulbs. Plus, save on your next oil change with 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and MicroGuard Filter, just $25.99. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This year, the Home Depot can help bring the holidays home for free. With free delivery on online holiday decor, like artificial Christmas trees, big, small, white lights, or multicolored. 140 varieties. Pick one out and we'll deliver it. Over the river, through the woods, right to your door for free. Free delivery on online holiday decor, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. See store for details.
Time to put up the tree.
Funny thing about the holidays is, nothing flies by faster.
Time for family photos. Time to cut the turkey. Time to open gifts. Time to take down the tree. Happy New Year!
Well, actually, the Lexus December to Remember sales event also goes by fast. That's because for a very limited time, you'll find some of our best offers on our most popular models. But don't wait. Offers end January 2nd. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Lexus of Memphis.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. If you need a roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and we will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. We have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for many years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies' new look, the Redbirds, the 901 FC, and the Tigers football and basketball teams, it's going to be a fun year. Thank you to Coach Norvell, Coach Hardaway, and their staffs for your dedication to your student athletes, the University of Memphis, and to fans like me who have waited forever to have both the football and basketball teams ranked at the same time. Five Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches, 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland, or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Pop a top on a barrel fee for Sneaky Pucker from 34 North Cocktails today. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
Wow, 3 hours, just not enough today. Got 30 minutes to go, still have a lot to get into. There is a report out there from SI.com that Knicks president Steve Mills is reportedly working toward firing coach David Fizdale. The Knicks are off to a rough 2-8 start. Fizz, of course, the former head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies back in action tonight. They'll play at San Antonio. They lost a couple of games over the weekend, including Friday at Orlando, where they were outscored 34-8 in the fourth quarter. And then they played Dallas. I went to that game Saturday night with my wife. They lost 138-122. No Ja Morant, no Brandon Clark. And that stirred up a little bit of controversy because of the fact that he didn't the team did not sit Ja on the road and sat him at home, and then there's some kind of NBA rule about doing that. And so Ja Morant's basically now with load management as a Rook.
I said last week that I thought they would do this. I said I didn't think it would necessarily happen that weekend, but it's clearly like this is just the way the NBA is going. I thought maybe with the fact that they're limiting his minutes per game so much that they would, certainly 9 games into the year, I didn't think they would be doing it.
Right.
I figured at some point it would come up. I did not think it'd be this early that they would start resting him.
But did you have to have Clark and Ja Morant sit out the same game at home? I mean, Clark was an injury. It wasn't load management, right? The back, so he could have sat out at Orlando.
They're if they wanted to sit John Morant at Orlando, they could have easily. I mean, the guy did have the offseason surgery. I'm sure that they could have gotten away with resting him in Orlando too. But
sure, and then
they may just not want to try and battle that. Whatever.
Show a videotape of all the falls he's already taken.
The idea of sitting him on a Saturday night home game this early in the year, I don't really understand that decision.
No, from
a business perspective,
you're going to lose. Yeah, you're going to lose some fandom right there. They want to come out and see John. John's not playing, and Clark's not playing. 2-7 now, the Grizzlies, as they embark on the Spurs tonight. Good news though, Josh Jackson. You called his first game with the Hustle on Friday, and then they played that Texas team again on Saturday. Same team at Texas. His numbers pretty impressive. I think it came out to where he averaged nearly 20 a game and nearly 10 rebounds a game.
He had 18 points Friday night, 21 and 13 on Saturday. Had 5 assists in both games. Had 3 blocks Friday, 2 Saturday. A couple of steals on Saturday. You see the talent. The kid's he's got a ton of talent. Athletic as heck, and he can do a lot of things. How long they want to keep him down there to prove himself, because it's not the on the court stuff that they're looking for. It's more it's off the court and all that. I don't know how long they feel like they need, and maybe it may be determined a little bit by if there's any injuries or things like that with the actual team. But no, the kid's got a lot of talent. You can see why he was the 4th overall pick.
And that could bode well for the Grizzlies in the long run. Congrats to Kermit Davis at Ole Miss. They have not signed, but they've gotten a commitment from 4-star Whitehaven, now IMG product, Matthew Morrell. Played at Whitehaven, is playing his senior year at IMG. I think he's a terrific player. Again, a 4-star prospect, Matthew Morrell, has committed to Ole Miss. I did want to mention real quick the whole James Wiseman deal about the suit and going ahead, obviously suing the NCAA, but Memphis is named in it. Then Penny and James Wiseman went together to get the not the injunction, but the original temporary restraining order. But isn't that a conflict of interest? Penny's his coach, but if Penny's is paid by the University of Memphis, and if they are named in the Wiseman suit, I guess, again, I'm not a lawyer here, but that would seem like a conflict of interest as far as that's concerned.
I am not anywhere near a lawyer, and I did not stay at Holiday Inn Express last night, and so I have no clue. Steven sent us a Facebook message, says, hate to use him as a source. However, I remember Brian Bosworth calling them the national communists against athletes. It's there's been a lot of those through
Jack
the years.
Eaton
that
would
have
probably
had some
say
problems.
that too, the late Jack Eaton.
Dirt happens as well as debris, dust, and damage. When they happen to you need somebody good to clean them up, and you need it fast. Well, Hilo Commercial Services will take care of you, specializing in construction cleanup, but they also do commercial, food plant, industrial cleaning, churches, schools, whatever it might be, residential. They can come clean it for you with a plan customized just for you based on what your needs are. They're also experts at getting those hard-to-reach places. So when dirt happens, give Hilo a call. Hilo Commercial Services, 901-277-6733. That's 901-277-6733. Their website is hilocommercial.com. That's H-I-L-O, hilocommercial.com. On the website, they get all the information you would need about them, and you can get a hold of them, have them come out, and again, sit down with you, devise a plan that is exactly what you need. They're going to make sure you are satisfied with the services you get from Hilo Commercial Services.
All right, let's do it. Time for the good, bad, and ugly.
The good. The bad. The ugly.
Good. I want to give a good to to Tulsa, who got the win over UCF 34-31, and Jacob Rainey. He hit this game-winning field goal. There's a little more time left this time. There's 5:09 left in the game when he broke the 31-all tie with a field goal. But good for him and good for Tulsa. Just if he was good, they would have wins over SMU, Memphis, and UCF.
I am driving home from the Tigers basketball game Friday night, and I'm listening to the game. And the game is, whatever the score was, it was the fourth quarter, earlier in the fourth quarter, and Rainey is lining up for a field goal. I think this was to give them the lead, or maybe just to stretch the lead. He hits the upright. And that same announcer, I can hear it in his voice. Oh, poor Rainey. But he comes back and he becomes the hero.
So good for him and good for Tulsa.
From 23 yards.
Well,
Real tough one.
It wasn't a hard one. But again, the Memphis one was only, 29, right? So, that's
6 yards makes all the difference.
The whole sideline was thinking, if he misses this one, come on, man. Dude, seriously, make this kick. Also from the American, Holton Ahlers, the quarterback at East Carolina. I got to give him a good, even though they've lost the last 2 games to Cincinnati and SMU, his 2 games, the last 2 games, 1,033 yards, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah, all of a sudden, this guy's on fire, but East Carolina starting to get things together. And again, this is a proud football program that was always a tough place to go for any opponent, and maybe it'll be again. That'll be another team to be reckoned with in the American Conference.
1,000 yards in 2 games.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Good for Minnesota getting the win over Penn State. Tanner Morgan, their quarterback, 18 of 20. 339 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor of Wisconsin, 250 yards on the ground in their win over Iowa. Of course, LSU and Joe Burrow doing his thing. 31 out of 39, 393 and 3 touchdowns in the win over Alabama. Do got to give a good to Devontae Smith on the other side of that, though. 7 catches, 213 yards and 2 touchdowns in a loss.
Wow.
That dude is, between the Ole Miss game and this game alone, he basically had a successful season for a wide receiver. From the NFL, Lamar Jackson doing it again. His second perfect passer rating of the year. He joins Ben Roethlisberger in 2000. I can't remember what year it was, but the only quarterbacks ever to have multiple games in a season with a perfect passer rating. He was 15 of 17 for 223 and 3 touchdowns, and just decided to add on 65 yards rushing and a touchdown and an amazing 47-yard touchdown run.
We'll see what Seattle does tonight against San Francisco, because last week I had it as Russell Wilson, the MVP. But I think after Lamar's performance, I jumped Lamar over Russell, but I could jump Russell back over him tonight.
Derrick Henry with 188 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Titans get the win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And then also from college basketball, it's a horrific thing, but Cassius Winston.
Yeah.
A day after his brother was killed when he was hit by a train, Winston goes for a double-double, 17 points, 11 assists. That's hard. As Tom Izzo said, they left it completely up to him. They didn't think he would play, but he wanted to play, and it was completely up to him. He goes out and gets 17 and 11. That's got to be a tough situation to try and go out there and focus on basketball, but Winston was able to do it.
No question about it. All right. Got any more?
Did want to give a special good to Jason and Caitlin Mott, the Mott Foundation, the cornhole tournament event Saturday night. I was over there. Good time. I was had by all. And so congratulations again to them and what they continue to do to try and strike out cancer.
Yeah, hopefully they raised a lot of money. Always a great event. All right, my goods, I start with Boogie Ellis in that Grizzlies win, or Tigers win, I should say, while everybody was paying attention, obviously, to James Wiseman and what was going on with that situation. Boogie came out and was just knocking down threes like they were going out of style. He had 6 of his first 7. He was 6 of 9 from the field, from three-point land, and 8 of 11 from the field overall. He had 22 points in the Tigers' rout of the University of Illinois Chicago. They won that game 92-46. They'll play Oregon tomorrow night. Don't forget Chandler. I forgot about this for a second until I saw the highlights of Oregon and their win over Boise State. Chandler Lawson is a part of that Oregon Ducks team, so they'll go at it tomorrow night. So good for Boogie Ellis. LSU, Joe Burrow, the win over Bama, the numbers he put up, incredible. And then Tua in a losing effort. Again, not 100% with the ankle. And it showed when they rolled him out a lot, which I was surprised they did. 21 of 40, 418 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. LSU snaps an 8-game losing streak to Alabama. I give a good, as you did, to Tanner Morgan, the Minnesota quarterback, and his numbers. And P.J. Fleck. He just wins, baby. Row the boat.
Row that boat.
In a loss, Iowa State quarterback Brock Purdy, 19 of 30, 282, 5 touchdowns, 15 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. He threw a perfect ball on that 2-point try, and it wasn't caught, and Iowa State ends up losing to Oklahoma. Give a good to App State. They beat South Carolina, their second win over a Power 5 this season. You mentioned the East Carolina quarterback. I give a good to the offensive fireworks in the SMU-ECU game. They combined for 110 points, 1,280 total yards, as SMU won 59-51. I give good to USC and Clay Helton. I say keep Clay Helton as your head coach. They beat Arizona State. They have their 6th win. They're bowl eligible, and they're doing it with a 3rd-string quarterback. I'll give a good to John Rice Plumlee. Ole Miss routed New Mexico State as expected. He had 301 total yards of offense, 2 rushing touchdowns. Despite a loss, I give a good to Hugh Freeze and Liberty. They go out to Provo, and they give BYU a battle. They lose 31-24. They're a much improved team, and he's got them playing pretty good football. I give a good from the college basketball world to Andrew Jones, who led Texas to a win over Purdue. He's a leukemia survivor. Great to see him back on the hardwood. I give a good to the Steelers. Back-to-back wins over my Colts and the Rams. They're now 5-4. Lamar Jackson, as you mentioned, the perfect quarterback rating. Derrick Henry of the Titans, 23 carries, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What a game between the Titans and the Chiefs. I give a good to the comeback of Patrick Mahomes in that game. He went 36 of 50, 446 yards and 3 touchdowns.
It's like easing him back into action with 50 throws. Hey, man, let's go out there, take it easy today, or just throw it 50 times.
Man, oh, man, he was good. But, boy, you got to give a lot of credit to the Titans. They came back. Ryan Tannehill led that comeback, and then they got the blocked field goal in the end to beat the Chiefs. Kyler Murray gets a good. He sets a new NFL rookie record for passing attempts without a pick, 177. I mentioned the Ole Miss getting the commitment from Matthew Morrell. That's a good. Josh Jackson, we talked about him. Good start to his G League stint with the Hustle. And I give a good to Jeremiah Martin. Speaking of the G League, the former Memphis Tiger went 30-10 in his first game for the Miami G League team, and then came back with 26, 7 rebounds, or 7 assists and 4 rebounds, or 4 steals, I should say. He's been pretty amazing so far to start his professional career.
Yeah, and Sioux Falls, I believe, is the only other 2-0 team in the G League other than the Hustle. The Hustle will be in action tonight, trying to go to 3-0. Starting the season with 3 games in 4 days is very strange, by the way, for the G League.
How many minutes did they play Josh Jackson for? Was it like 40, did I see?
No.
Oh, okay.
He played, gosh, I don't have it right here in front of me.
Either way, they weren't being shy about how many minutes they're getting.
No, I mean, but it was, yeah.
He's not on any load management.
And Saturday was a little different, too, because Saturday they did not have either of the two-way guys, so there was a little bit different
right, Yuta and Conchar played for the
Grizzlies. So, but I can't remember. I'd have to look up to see exactly what the minutes were.
By the way, Peter Edmiston, who you know from Sports 56, he comes on right before us with C.J. Hurt. Anyway, he has written a story for The Athletic on the situation with John Morant. He said, in sitting John Morant and Brandon Clark on Saturday, the Grizzlies handled a difficult situation poorly. And if Morant at 20 years of age can't be risked in Game 9 of the season, what does that say about the NBA's regular season product? Looks like it's broken. That looks like a story I want to read, and I think you'll want to read it too. All right, what do you got for bads?
Some bads from college football, Missouri. They've played 3 road games in conference play this year. They've been outscored 77-21. And it's not like that's against Alabama, LSU, and Georgia. One of them is Georgia. They got shut out by Georgia this week. They scored 14. They're going the wrong way, too. They scored 14 against Vanderbilt. Then they scored 7 against Kentucky. And then they scored 0 against Georgia. So is it possible to score negative points in their next road game? Like -7?
They got a home game with Tennessee, and it's important for both teams. I don't know. Missouri may go to a bowl. We'll see what happens with that deal with the waiver if they end up getting the news from the NCAA. But Tennessee needs a win to get to 6, so they hope Missouri continues to play like they do on the road at home.
Yeah, the question now is, are they just this bad, or is it just because these games were all on the road? Like, or are they just really bad right now?
What happened, by the way, to Kelly Bryant? Is he out with an injury? He didn't play in that game.
I don't know. Arkansas just killed by Western Kentucky, firing Chad Morris. Losses to San Jose State and Western Kentucky. That's a rough year.
That is really bad.
That's tough times over there for the Hogs. From the NFL, Saquon Barkley, just 1 yard on 13 carries yesterday for the Giants against the Jets. Your Colts losing to the Dolphins at home. What the world is going on there?
Oh, my gosh.
The Grizzlies, a couple of things. The 8-point fourth quarter which took a late 3 to get them to 8. They were looking like they're going to score 5 points in the fourth quarter. Went 3 of 23 from the field in the fourth quarter on Friday. Out-rebounded 21-7. They had more turnovers than made field goals in that fourth quarter. And then Saturday, the resting of Ja Morant. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this early in the year, I think you could at least find a way to get him out there for 15, 20 minutes for your home fans.
Of course.
I like to think that the kid at 20 years old can handle 15 or 20 minutes for the home fans.
But they're getting them ready for the 2022-23 season. It's all about that. They're looking ahead.
And I don't know. That one's again, I expected it to happen at some point. Didn't expect it to happen in the first 10 games of the year.
Any more bads?
No.
James Wiseman, the whole deal, obviously. Chad Morris, and a 4-18 run, 0-14 in the SEC at Arkansas comes to an end. Kentucky's failure to score from deep in Tennessee territory. They got stopped on a 4th and 1 as Tennessee ends up getting that win over Kentucky. Michigan State blows a 31-10 lead in the fourth quarter and falls to Illinois 37-34. Sparty now 4-5, and Illinois is bowl eligible. What in the wide world of sports is going on? You got Illinois bowl eligible, and Indiana's in the top 25 now. Vanderbilt loses to Florida 56-0. You got to think Derek Mason's days are numbered. Saints somehow lose to the Falcons 26-9. What the hell's going on? And as you mentioned, the Colts losing to the Dolphins. Brian Hoyer was awful. 3 picks. Chad, I would have loved to seen Chad Kelly get in, but Frank Reich answering that question post-game said he didn't get any reps, so he wasn't ready to go. Why didn't he get any reps? I give it bad to UCF falling to Tulsa. You mentioned them earlier. They're 7-3. That's like really bad for UCF. Washington State falls to 4-5, 1-5 in the Pac-12. They lose 23-20 to Cal. In college basketball, I give it bad to Florida. Ranked 6th. They lose to rival Florida State at home by 12 for their 6th straight loss in the series. I give it bad to Mississippi Valley State. I know they're not good, but they lost to Utah 143-49. It's a 94-point win. It's the largest between 2 Division I men's basketball teams in history. I give a bad to the Nissan Stadium Red. The Chiefs. I guess you got to give a good to the Chiefs fan base, but not to the Titans fan base, because the Chiefs fan base showed up at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I give a bad to Gordon Hayward. He breaks his left hand against the Spurs. And as you mentioned, the Grizzlies being outscored 34-8 in the fourth Friday at Orlando, and the whole deal with sitting Ja Morant and Brandon Clark.
This hour, the program is brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Go pick you up a 4-pack of 34 North Cocktails at the liquor stores around Memphis. You got two to choose from. You can get the Barrel Thief, which is a bourbon drink, just like a bourbon old-fashioned. Sneaky Pucker is a premium vodka drink with basically vodka and lemonade. And these are absolutely delicious, great for tailgates and other parties. Very convenient because they're right there, pre-made in that 12-ounce can for you. And all you got to do is head to liquor stores around the area, ask them for 34 North Cocktails, give them a try, and you're going to love them. Pop a top today on a 34 North Cocktail.
According to Dennis Dodd, Ohio State to submit reinstatement request for Chase Young, thus starting the NCAA process. Rules adjusted in June. State Young could miss as many as 4 games. His availability for Saturday's Rutgers game is considered a long shot. I'm going to throw this out there, Eli. I think they're in good shape against Rutgers, even if Chase Young doesn't play.
I like their chances.
I like their chances, too. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with our uglies and one final thing. This is Middays on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find Real Sports Talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Help Landers Nissan make this Christmas merry for low-income families by donating new, unused toys and gifts or monetary gifts to Trinity Church's Affordable Christmas Store. Low-income parents will get to pick and purchase gifts at 1/10 retail value. Donate at Landers Nissan or by texting Trinity to 77977 Tuesday, November 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's when Landers Nissan will match your donation. All donations go to provide toys for participating families.
Hi, this is Greg Gaston from Sports 56, and I want to tell you about Donnie Morrow and the Morrow Group at RE/MAX On Point Guarantee. They'll sell your home within 65 days or they will work for free. Donnie Morrow and his team have sold over 500 homes during the past 3 years and over 200 homes sold last year alone. Call 901-359-9698 or go online at MidSouthHomefinder.com. List with Donnie Morrow and sell tomorrow. Realistically, these things can happen. Restrictions apply. See Realtor for terms and conditions. Free guarantee applies. A listing agent's commission. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
AC trouble? Make your first call your last call. Call Air Doctors of Memphis, 901-598-HVAC. Owner Matt Davis is a third-generation full-service air conditioning specialist. Air Doctors of Memphis services all major brands, and labor and parts are guaranteed 100%. Their yearly AC checkup is only $60, and 24-hour emergency service is billed at normal rates. Your comfort is their highest priority. Contact airdoctorsofmemphis.com or call 901-598-HVAC.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour of Sports 56 Middays is also brought to you by 34 North Cocktails. Pop a top on a barrel thief or sneaky pucker from 34 North Cocktails today. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie.
All right, Eli, what do you got for your uglies?
Ugly, the Pac-12 officials. That's a new one. I've never seen. They assess the penalty to the wrong team. Like, how does no official, like, figure out, wait a second, we just did this. Like, especially the guy who actually threw the flag. How does he not go, wait a second, no. The penalty was on the other team.
See, to me, that's one you should be able to look at replay in case you're that dumb and can't figure it out, which obviously they were. Get it right is the bottom line, and they didn't.
They didn't know to look at, like, they wouldn't even have known to look at replay. Like, a replay official doesn't know who he called it on.
And then they decided it was a great idea to walk up to Mike Leach and say, oh, yeah, we botched that one.
Oh, you're right, yeah. There's no way. It's got to be one of his, one of their mates that come over and say you called it on the wrong team. The guy who threw the flag,
you have to know who you called the penalty on. Like, you got to know the team. Like,
yeah, that's bad.
It's not asking much. Just know the team that you called the penalty on, and the referee, when he tells you that team, make sure you assess it the correct way.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that it got by everybody is amazing to me. And then the news today that Charles Rogers, the former Michigan State receiver, was the number 2 overall pick in the draft by the Lions back in the day, ended up being a bust in the NFL, dead at age 38.
Yeah, I was going to do that for the one final thing. It's sad news. They say that he had liver failure and that he recently was diagnosed with cancer. He was a tremendous player at Michigan State for a couple of years and was selected by the Lions with the 2nd overall pick in the draft of 2003. But boy, was he a bust. He had all kinds of issues, and then he got into, I think it was like a drug suspension, 4 games, and just he never materialized into the player they thought he could be. Sad news. My ugly's that, and you talked earlier about the Cassius Vaughn, his brother Zachary Vaughn getting hit by a train and dying, and then going out and playing, and that's got to be
Cassius Winston.
What did I say? Cassius Vaughn? Cassius Winston. But that has to be really, really hard to go out and play. I mean, most people wouldn't be able to do that, and he did, and he played very well in honor of his brother. And then the Deion Waiters thing. He gets suspended 10 games by the Miami Heat.
That dude's got some serious issues.
Remember, he was suspended for the opening game of the season. So
I don't know why they don't just cut him at this point.
I know. Reportedly, he had a panic attack on the team plane allegedly caused by THC. I'd have to bring in John Harden for this. THC infusible edibles. In other words, somebody gave him like a gummy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or he had the gummy himself. They said, though, they think a teammate gave it to him.
In the initial reports, they didn't even say THC. They're just like, he took a bunch of quote-unquote gummies. And I'm like, what kind of gummies? These aren't Flintstone gummies.
These are not exactly just your over-the-counter
gummies.
These are your over-the-counter gummy bears that everybody out there in the world can just get. Like, I can't believe they haven't just released him. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Because they even said, like, he's had many incidents of, like, conduct detrimental to the team. Like, at what point in time do you just say, you know what, Deion, How about you go your separate way? Because he's not even like playing because they got the 2 young kids that are playing anyway. So it's like, what's the purpose of keeping him at this point?
I don't know.
He's
the team supplier, apparently.
And I don't know, but aren't the gummies, isn't that supposed to make you like relaxed? Why would you have a panic attack?
I don't know, man. It's kind of like.
Doesn't marijuana make you like chill?
It could. I mean, but it could make you very paranoid too. And
again,
maybe
John
that's what
Harden
it
will
was.
tackle this.
Oh yeah, this will be tackled later. I promise.
I just I don't know. I have no experience in that area. Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
Mentioned earlier, Memphis now 18 in the AP college football poll, and they are now 13 in the AP men's basketball poll. The new AP Top 25 release. Kentucky is your new number 1. They got 64 of the 65 first-place votes. Duke is second. Michigan State third. Louisville got the other first-place vote. They're fourth. They are followed by Kansas, North Carolina, Maryland, Gonzaga, Virginia, and Villanova. Florida took a nosedive all the way to 15th after losing to Florida State. Memphis 13, Oregon 14. They will play tomorrow night. Other teams of note, Auburn 22, LSU number 23.
So this, I just find this funny because of some of the texts we had a little bit earlier. Ed Orgeron, talking about the game against Alabama on Saturday, said this was the best officiated game I've ever been a part of. Says he called Steve Shaw at the SEC office and told him that. I wonder if he'd feel the same way if they had lost the game.
You know who didn't call Steve Shaw? Nick Saban.
Nick Saban did not. But there you go. So those people who are saying stuff about the officials, Ed Orgeron says it was the best officiated game he has ever been a part of. Or at least that's what they think he said, because nobody can really, truly understand Ed Orgeron when he talks.
So true.
Tonight, Monday Night Football right here on Sports 56. It's a good one with San Francisco and Seattle. As San Francisco, I'm telling you, Mercury Morris tonight, there's going to be some champagne popping going on for Mercury Morris in the game.
Yeah, I have a feeling that may happen as well. Mike Norvell back to work today with his weekly press conference, praising the University of Houston. Despite all the personnel changes, the Cougars will be an obstacle on Saturday as the Tigers return to the football field. Tomorrow on the program, Connor O'Gara to talk college football, Don Wade with the dish, Steve Macy from the University of Memphis, plus our Humdingers trivia, 2.5 questions, and our NFL Week 10 recap. We'll be doing it from Landers Nissan, the affordable Christmas campaign. So come on by and give what you can tomorrow at Landers Nissan in South Haven. Big shout out to our guests today, Barrett Salee and Brooks Hanson. Stay tuned. Johnny Radio. John Harden coming up next with Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. For Gabe Kuhn and Eli Savoie, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great Monday, everybody.
Whether we like it or not, best I can tell, the world's gone to hell, and we're sure gonna miss it a lot.
You'll see the dedication in every single step. You'll see it in the smiles, when smiles are hard to get. You'll see it in the little things that add up to success. The caring and passion are the things that we love best.
Wolf Chase Limb Brace is your Mid-South provider for orthotics and prosthetics. They are an ABC-accredited facility, and their practitioners are ABC certified. At Wolf Chase Limb Brace, their services include artificial limbs, legs and arms, braces of all kinds, and custom molded inserts. You can call them today at 901-507-7821 for their location on Highway 64 in between Germantown Parkway and Appling Road, or visit them at their new location in Jackson, Tennessee. That number is 731-660-5900, or visit them on the web at wolfchaselimbembrace.com.
Dedicated our life to yours. Wolf Chase Limb and Brace.
For over 25 years, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 has been bringing you great local sports talk. With 13 hours of local talk daily, we continue to be Memphis's local sports leader. The day starts with Keith Parker and Elliot Wender on the press box from 6 to 7, followed by the Peter Edmiston Experience with C.J. Hurt from 7 to 10. Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoie takes you through lunch from 10 until 1. And then, John Harden brings you Johnny Radio's